How long were you married?
11 years.
You were divorced, you separated your property.
A wife walks away with a valuable asset.
One of the pieces of property that you had was an insurance policy.
Now she plans to make her ex pay.
In order to sell the policy, he requires your signature. And you say to him, you want my signature? It's going to cost you.
I said, just make me an offer.
And what did he say?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Diana Kempton is suing her ex-husband, Robert Kempton, for defrauding her regarding an insurance policy he cashed out.
Order. All rise. Judge, this is case number 539 on the calendar, the matter of Kempton versus Kempton.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Let me see if I can briefly outline so that we're all on the same page what this is about. Mr. Kempton, you and the defendant were married for quite some time, but divorced, I believe, in 2012.
That's correct.
And when you were divorced, you were represented by an attorney?
No.
Were you represented by an attorney? No. So the two of you worked out an agreement. And as part of that agreement, you settled all property issues.
We did.
Yes, right. Yes.
So far, perfect. One of the pieces of property that you had, that you paid for jointly as a married couple, was an insurance policy, a life insurance policy on Mr. Kempton's life.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you were to be the recipient of half of that policy if something happened to him. And the other half of the policy was to be split between his 5 children that are not your children.
Correct.
That are his children and his former wife.
Right.
At the divorce, it was decided between the two of you that you would get the policy.
Yes.
And you would get the policy along with paying the premiums solely.
Correct.
Which you then did from 2012, I don't know what month in 2012 you'll tell me, until 2015.
That's right.
In 2015, you decided that you would not pay the premiums anymore on that policy.
Correct.
And you called your former husband and said, I'm not paying the premiums on this policy anymore.
She couldn't afford to, she told me.
Whatever, she couldn't afford to. She wasn't. She wasn't going to pay the
That's right.
premiums on the policy anymore. Now, Mrs. Kempton, you understand that if you stop paying the premiums on the policy lapses.
Terminates, yes.
Terminates. That's pretty much what you want. So whatever you had invested between 2012 and 2015 was gone.
Plus what we had put into it before that together, yes.
Yes, well, he lost that too.
True.
Right?
Yes.
So all you really lost on your own was between 2012 and 2015, because anything that you put in as a couple before, he would have lost the same thing.
True.
So he said, well, give me the policy and I'll take care of it. So right now, it's like trash. You throw it out, and one man's trash is another man's treasure. So you got rid of it. You had no more interest in it other than, I assume, your name was still on it as a beneficiary.
No.
Just a minute. So
okay.
When you turned it over to your uncross, when you turned it over to your former husband, he advised you that he was taking your name off the policy as a beneficiary.
Yes.
Do you have any children together, by the way?
No, we do not.
No. How long were you married?
11 years.
Okay, so now he's got the policy, and whether he took your name off the policy, did you, as a beneficiary, when you got it?
Yes, Your Honor.
You did?
When I took the policy over in 2015? That's correct, Your Honor.
You took her name off as a beneficiary. Perfectly reasonable. You have 5 children. They should be the beneficiaries of your life insurance policy.
Yes.
If you're paying for it.
Yes.
So that's perfectly reasonable. Then you decided, for whatever reason, to sell the policy.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you held the policy from 2015 to what year?
Till I sold the policy in about November of 18.
Okay.
Approximately.
So you each paid independently for 3 years. She from 2012 to 15, you from 15 to 18.
Incorrect, Your Honor. From 2012 to 2015, the premiums were paid out of a joint banking account in both of our names.
No.
We were separated at that time, though.
Just a minute. You were divorced in 2012.
I'm sorry. We were separated in 2012.
We were divorced in 2012.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. We were separated in 2009.
I don't care about 2009.
Okay.
I don't care. What is relevant in the court is 2015.
Okay.
2015, you were divorced. You separated your property. She paid the premiums from 2012 to 2015, and then she threw the policy in the trash.
Okay.
She got rid of it, and you took it over, and she had no interest in that policy, and if you, heaven forbid, keeled over in the street and died, she would get nothing.
Yes.
And everybody understood that.
Yes.
Yes.
So now he decides to sell the policy, and you're in for a windfall because he requires your signature to put your hand down. So far, you're not losing. So far, you're not losing. So far, what I'm saying is pretty much on target.
Yes.
Okay, so we don't have to hear from you. In order to sell the policy, he requires your signature, right?
Yes. Yes.
And you've already thrown away the trash.
Right.
And you say to him, you want my signature? It's going to cost you.
Yes.
Just a second. You want my signature? You're going to pay for it. Well, that's the bargain. Not nice? I don't think so, because she had thrown away the trash. So now we're going to pick it up, because what you say is when he sold the policy, you had agreed on one figure that he would give you, which was $18,000 and some odd dollars. And what he actually gave you from the policy, which was a windfall for you, which you never expected to get, was $12,000 some odd dollars. So you're suing him for the other money that he had agreed to pay you. Do you understand?
I understand.
You understand?
Could I fill
you
in?
Understand?
Yes.
You have to understand. You're in a very unsympathetic position.
Okay.
You may be right, but what you did was say to him, listen, I threw this away. You took it over. I didn't expect anything. I knew you were going to change the beneficiary to your 5 children. And now, because of some technicality, you need my signature to sign off. So you're going to give me money. And I'm going to tell you how much money I want.
I didn't do that.
Oh, you didn't? Great.
No.
What did you say? Now, at that point, when he said, I need your signature, and you said, it's going to cost you, how much did you tell him it was going to cost him?
I actually said there was another letter before that, back in August, that he emailed me and asked me to type out, retype, and sign that was asking me to testify as the original writing agent that...
Listen, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Don't complicate this any further. It doesn't
Okay.
have to be complicated. Right now, that's what this case is about.
Okay.
It's about you wanting the difference between what you say you agreed to with him and what he gave you from this trash that you had thrown away.
Well, originally, when he was asking me for a letter, it was different. But anyway, I said, just make me an offer. Any kind of an offer, it's valuable to you, make me an offer. And he was saying, I'm not even going to sell it. I don't plan to sell it. I just want your signature on this letter. I said, I don't think that's true. We talked for half an hour, and I convinced him that he could get tens of thousands of dollars by selling the policy, and he kept saying, no, I'm not going to.
You're convincing an insurance salesman, because that's what he does for a living.
He doesn't. He sells health insurance.
Just a second. You convincing a guy who sells insurance that he would be better off to sell the policy?
Yes.
And give you a couple of bucks.
And I said, just
a second, and give you a couple of bucks.
Yeah.
Make an offer.
That's all I said.
Whatever.
Make me an offer.
Just a second. And what did he say?
No.
So he said no. So he gave you a gift of $12,000?
No, that was later. I didn't know any money was coming.
Get to later.
Okay. I did not
later.
actually...
I'm not interested in before. I'm interested in the conversation you had.
In the conversation,
about...
we never had a figure. In the conversation, no figure to me was ever stated.
Is that what you're saying, that no figure was ever stated?
In the conversations, yes.
I want you to get to the point where a figure was stated.
On October 31st, Bob emailed to me this contract. That's the first time I ever saw.
Fine. He emailed you a contract that said,
if you will sign this spousal release form, I will give you $18,500.
I'd like to see it. That's where we're going.
Right here.
Thank you.
Prior to that, I never said any figures. Okay.
Okay. So, Mr. Kempton, you sent this note to her?
Yes, Your Honor.
You sent this note to her?
Yes.
And when you sent this note to her, she responded by signing the document.
Correct.
Just a second.
Yes.
Now, that is, Mr. Kempton, since you're in the insurance business, so you know something about a contract.
Yeah.
In order to have a contract, going back to contract law, which is a half a century ago, let's see if I get it right. You need an offer. That's the offer.
Okay.
You need an acceptance, which she did by signing the contract,
okay,
the document that you wanted her to.
Yes.
And you need consideration, an offer, acceptance, and consideration. The consideration for her doing the sign-off was $18,500. Now, if you didn't say $18,500 here, she wouldn't have a leg to stand on because she threw away trash.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You're going to tell me that after you got it, which is why you sent her the $12,500, she should really have only gotten a third, right? And that's what you figured out.
Yes.
Well, that's too bad for you.
And later today,
if you were notified, and they are clearly two idiots, why didn't you take care of it?
Mr. Rodriguez had told me that he would take care of the impound fees.
He can't take care of it because it's not titled in his name.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Diana Kempton says ex-husband Robert Kempton defrauded her regarding an insurance policy he cashed out.
Okay. Now, what you're going to tell me, and you gave her $12,500.
Yes.
And that's where we are. You want the rest. But you have a valid contract, offer, acceptance, and consideration.
Yes.
Okay. And you're going to tell me that after you got it, which is why you sent her the $12,500, because you figured out how much she paid and how much you paid, and she should really have only gotten a third.
Yes.
Not more than a third,
yes.
right? And that's
yes.
what you figured out.
Yes.
Well, that's too bad for you. You should have figured it out before you made the contract.
I made a mistake. Okay. Can I say something?
Mistake once the contract is fully executed, and it was fully executed. Offer, acceptance, she signed off the document, and the consideration was fixed by contract of $18,500. I want to tell you something. I don't like to do this because I think she just should have said, sure, I'll sign it. I have no skin in the game in that policy anymore. But the truth is, she had paid the premiums over a 3-year period. You had paid the premiums over a 3-year period, and you jointly paid the premiums over a longer period of time when you had the policy together. So it's not an unreasonable thing. Now, if you want to disagree with anything that I just said, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah, only to add to the fact that the $18,000 email that you were having in front of you there, that was based on a verbal conversation we had before she was signing this document, okay? And so I assumed that we had paid the premiums about half the time. But I was wrong. I made a mistake. Okay, it's going to bite me, I know. I later found out that was wrong.
Okay.
And
so you understand, sir, you sell insurance. This is the contract.
Yeah, I understand. 4
corners of the agreement. If you buy a building and you have it inspected and you reach a price and you go to contract and then you say, you know what, I think I made a mistake. And the contract provides for liquidated damages and the amount of your deposit.
Okay.
Say, well, I changed my mind. I made a mistake. I thought it was zoned so that I could put in a barbershop, and it wasn't. Well, that's something you have to figure out before. So if you made a mistake, it's an expensive mistake, but one that in your situation, I think that you probably should be happy that you're able to pay the $5,000 because the other way, your children would be collecting a lot more money because you're still standing here, right?
Sure.
Perfect. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I thought she was very fair and very reasonable, even though I lost.
It was the contract, was the whole case.
She wanted more money than I was willing to give her.
Be careful when you sign off your rights to things.
Oh, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bautista versus Rios. Step forward.
Food deliverer Xandro Batista is suing Katrina Rios for medical bills and lost wages after her dog bit him.
Mr. Batista, according to your complaint, you were delivering food. What kind of food was it that you were delivering?
I think as a burger like that. I was a delivery of Grubhub food, any food.
What kind of food did
Your
you
Honor,
order?
I wasn't there. My roommate was there. I was at work.
So you weren't there?
No, this is my dog, so that's why I'm here.
Stand up. What kind of food did you order?
Burger King.
Burger King?
Yeah.
Where is the closest Burger King to where you live?
A few miles, but I don't have a car.
On what date did you order this food?
March 2nd.
And the plaintiff came to your house. You were home alone with that dog?
Yes.
And that is the defendant's dog?
Correct.
You're her roommate?
Yes.
So you have absolutely no idea what happened because you weren't there?
Yes.
Great. And I can get the information from her. So on the 2nd of March, you ordered food and?
And I asked for the food to be delivered to me and to...
Of course, you gave him your address, and that's what happened.
Yes.
The food was delivered to you, and he rang the doorbell, he knocked at the door. How did... Next?
Yes, he rang the doorbell.
Rang the bell. And where were you when he rang the bell?
I was on the couch in the living room.
So what did you do?
So it was earlier than I expected, so I jumped up and opened the door, and...
And the plaintiff was there?
Correct.
So you jumped up, opened the door, plaintiff was there, and?
And the dog ran up and barked at him, which she does.
I don't care what she does. The dog ran up and barked at him.
Yes.
And?
Yes. And yes, she was barking at him. She ran up to him and barked at him. And so I herded her inside and was holding her back behind me while I was at the door, thinking I could just grab the food and that would be it. And but then the plaintiff said she bit me. And so I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see her bite him, but that's what he said. So I said, I'm sorry. What can I do? Do you need help?
When he said the dog bit me, it's a small dog, so unless the dog jumps, it must have bit him on the leg.
Correct.
Did he show it to you?
Not at that time.
When did he show it to you?
He asked if he could come into the apartment, and I was surprised, but I was kind of, taken off guard, so I said yes. And he sat on the couch, and he lifted the bottom of his leg and showed me a little bruise on his ankle.
It was bleeding out.
I don't want to hear from you yet.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Is something wrong with you?
I call 911, Your Honor.
Are you nuts? 911 is when you have an emergency.
Yes, Your Honor.
So what did you call 911 for?
I was afraid for my life, Your Honor.
Oh, well, then there's something wrong with you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Food deliverer Xandro Batista says Katrina Rios' dog bit him during a delivery.
Okay, so you invited him inside, he sat down, he picked up his pants, and showed you a mark on his ankle.
Correct. I should say at this time I had put the dog away. Actually, before I let him in, I closed the door, put her away in her cage, and then let him in.
Before he came back in?
Yes, because she was still barking.
Okay. So when you saw the bruise on his ankle, what did you say to him?
I said, I'm sorry, can I help? What do you need? A Band-Aid or something?
Well, when you use a Band-Aid, it means you usually see some blood.
I didn't see any blood.
Okay. So you gave him a Band-Aid for what?
I didn't, but I asked if he needed something, and he said he was very upset. He said he was worried about rabies, and I said the dog doesn't have rabies, but I'm sorry that,
Did you say the dog has shots? I can get you the shot record.
I did.
He doesn't have to believe you.
Yeah, I said it's not my dog, but I believe she's vaccinated, and I'm sure I can give you my roommate's contact information. I gave him my contact information and said, you can contact her for all of that information. He asked if she had insurance for the dog, and I said, I don't know, but you can talk to her.
Okay, and that was it. And he left?
Not at that time yet.
Oh, well, just tell me what happened.
Okay, he called 911, and so the fire department came out. So a couple of people, two guys from the fire department came into the apartment. They checked his leg, looked at him, checked his blood pressure and all that, and they said he was fine. He expressed his concerns about rabies, and they said there's no way you got rabies from that if that's a bite, because there was no skin broken. So you have to break the skin to get rabies. You definitely wouldn't contract rabies that way. But if you'd like to go to the hospital, we can either call an ambulance for you or you could drive yourself. And so the plaintiff said that he would drive himself. And then they left, and he stayed a little longer he was upset and talking to me about being afraid of rabies, and he needs to go to the hospital and so forth. and then he left. He said he was going to drive himself to the hospital.
Thank you. Can I see a picture of the injury? Yep.
Your Honor, can I see that? I've never seen the injury either.
I want to tell you something. It's nothing.
Okay. That's what I was wondering. I was just wondering.
Listen to me.
Sorry.
It's nothing. You called the fire department over this? Is something wrong with you?
I called 911, Your Honor.
Are you nuts?
No,
Don't you think if you called 911, 911 is when you have an emergency.
Yes, Your Honor.
911 is when you have an emergency.
Yes, Your Honor.
So what did you call 911 for?
I was afraid for my life, Your Honor.
Oh, well, then there's something wrong with you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
In calling an emergency over a nip that didn't break your skin, that required emergency vehicles that should be at the disposal of other people who have real emergencies, is ridiculous.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Food deliverer Xandro Batista says Katrina Rios' dog bit him during a delivery.
Now, sir, listen to me very carefully. When you are bitten viciously by the dog, there was no broken skin, none. This is your picture. I take this picture as gospel truth that this is what your ankle looked like. And when you call 911, you take either police officers. In this case, you took a fire truck, and I'm surprised they didn't sue you. I'm really surprised they didn't sue you. Now, not smart when you have, first of all, I don't like your answer. Your answer suggests two things that are lies. She told me the honest to goodness truth story. Your answer was not that. I don't know who made up the fantasy here. But next time when you write a deposition, listen to me. I want you to take the number $5,000 and erase it from your mind. Totally erase it from your mind. The dog nipped you. You weren't injured. You had a fear. It wasn't right that the dog nipped you. I want you to take the figure $5,000 and do a windshield wiper on your mind. Do you understand? Now, you have the right, if you have a fear, to go to a doctor or a hospital for the doctor to look at it. And the defendant is going to be responsible for that visit on March 2nd. Do you understand? That's it. Now, I want to see the bill. And I'm telling you, your conduct that day in calling an emergency over a nip that didn't break your skin, that required emergency vehicles that should be at the disposal of other people who have real emergencies to come and look at your non-existent injury because you were looking to make money is ridiculous.
Can you speak?
Ridiculous.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I don't even think this bill is reasonable. Actually, I think you should have gone into a walk-in clinic, not go an emergency room for $1,074 for a mark that didn't even break your skin. I mean, an intelligent person knows that you can't get a disease from a dog or from another unless they break the skin. You were wearing pants. This thing didn't get through the pants. Now you can speak. You have 30 seconds.
Your Honor, I was a full-time independent contractor and a Grubhub delivery. I had no insurance, Your Honor. I'm not comfortable with the dog. Can you take out the dog? Because I'm still shocked right now, Your Honor.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $250, which is what it would have cost you to go see a doctor to tell you not to worry. We're done. Goodbye.
I have medical bills.
Step up.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She's right. He was ridiculous.
When something have rabies, it's very not good to the people.
So if he's afraid of my dog, why would he come back to my apartment?
I'm not going back on their house many times, only once.
So a guy come to the door, didn't know who it was, so she started to bark, and that was it.
I was afraid of the dog because they bite the dog, and I see the people become crazy and die.
She was going to put on Facebook the fact that you're a deadbeat.
I told her, go ahead and do it.
A threat over a loan leads to a lie.
The day that he was supposed to pay me the money, he texted me telling me that he found out he has gonorrhea and that I gave it to him. So I freaked out. I was crying. I was like, oh no, what am I supposed to do?
And of course you tested negative.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on in your mind, Mr. Brown.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Michelle Boatwright is suing her ex-lover, Jonelle Brown, for an unpaid loan and punitive damages for threats of defamation.
Order. All rise. It's case number 164 on the calendar in the matter of Boatwright versus Brown.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
All right, Mr. Brown, I'm going to start with you, sir. There is no question that you took some money from Miss Boatwright. How much money did you take from her?
About $360. $360.91, the price for the key.
$361?
Yes, ma'am.
And how many times did you meet Miss Boatwright?
Overall, or just?
Overall, how many times did you meet with her?
Maybe about three or four times.
How many times did you meet?
Around that, yeah.
And you met on Facebook?
Yes.
You reached out to him?
I did.
When was that?
It was about a little over a year ago.
And in what month did you give him this $361?
Oh, the exact date was August 2nd of 2018. And I didn't actually give it to him. I paid directly to Mercedes.
You mean for something for his car?
Yeah, it was for a key fob that didn't work any longer.
And he asked you for it?
No, not exactly. Can I explain?
Okay. Did he ask you for the money?
Well, I offered to lend it to him, and he agreed to pay me in 10 to 14 days.
Is that true? No, look at me. Is that true?
It's semi-true.
Well, if it's somewhat true that you had trouble with your car that wouldn't start because of the key fob, and either you agreed to pay her or you didn't agree to pay her.
We had several conversations about it. It wasn't just one conversation about it.
Well, let's talk about the initial conversation. In the initial conversation, when she offered you this money,
yes,
did you tell her that you would pay her back?
In the initial conversation, yes. But
yes.
We had conversations before she gave me the money.
Well, that's the initial conversation.
Yes.
The initial conversation, you said you would pay her back.
Yes.
And
I have text messages.
He admits it, which is a good thing for him. What changed?
Between me?
Between you saying, if you pay this to Mercedes, I'll pay you back in a couple of weeks or whenever. Why didn't you pay her?
Well, it was like a really tight situation at that time.
What do you mean? I don't understand what you mean tight. Do you mean tight financial for you?
Yeah, just tight financially, tight the situation that was going on. I had just moved and I had surgery in the same week. And my car broke down.
So that's okay. All of those things are stressors on you.
Yeah.
That doesn't change the legal obligation to pay her back the $361.
Well, I told her after the initial conversation that I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that again because I have so much on my plate.
Well, you can't get the money.
It was before she gave me the money.
It was before she gave you the money. So before she gave you the money, you said, you know what? I said I could pay you back, but I don't think I can. I have too much going on.
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Somewhere along the lines, yeah.
Is that right?
No. Even after giving him the money, he agreed that he was going to pay it back.
And you have text messages to prove that. So you want to change your story?
Oh, I have the text messages where I said to her.
I'd like to see the text message in and around August of this year where he says he's going to pay you back.
So I'm assuming that the conversations we had in person over the phone doesn't count.
There was no such conversation.
I'm not answering your question, sir.
Yep.
Shucks.
I mean, if I was known I was getting sued, I probably would have kept a lot of these conversations.
Okay, so that's $361 that you owe her. Now, she has an additional claim, sir, that's a little more distressing to me. And that's an additional claim for medical expenses. After she asked you back for this money, did you make a threat to her?
No, I didn't make a threat to her.
Did he?
She actually threatened me, actually.
Well.
So what I had said on Facebook was, you need to pay me my money, or I'm going to put it on Facebook that you owe me money. And then he proceeded to text me back with a whole lot of nonsense and saying, you know, you go ahead and embarrass yourself and your kids. I'll do it for you. Well, it wouldn't be embarrassing to me that you owe me money and you're not paying me.
Right.
So I believe he was referring to him telling me that I gave him gonorrhea, which I have my test results. I did not.
Just a second. When did he tell you
So the
that?
15th, the day that he was supposed to pay me the money, we were supposed to meet up that night. That morning, he texted me telling me that he found out he has gonorrhea and that I gave it to him. So I freaked out. I was crying. I was like, oh no, what am I supposed to do? I went to get my test the next day.
And of course you tested negative,
Absolutely.
which you have there.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Brown, that's what I'm talking about. That's a nasty that I'm talking about. So first I'm going to ask you, what made you believe that you were infected with an STD? That's not a laugh.
No, it's not a laugh. She's making it seem like it's a lot of things.
No. I'm asking you direct questions.
Yeah.
What made you think, now after you got into this discussion about money and that she was going to put on Facebook the fact that you owed her money, which is a place where you met, in a group chat?
No, I actually commented on, he said something about being 6'4", and so I was like, oh, 6'4".
I don't even know how that works, that you can find somebody
It's
else.
true.
Anyway. After she said she was going to put on Facebook the fact that she had loaned you money and you reneged on paying her back, what made you think that you had a sexually transmitted disease is my first question. What made you think that? Had you been diagnosed, or was this just something you threw out there?
It was something I threw out there.
All right, well, that's a big problem, sir.
Well, we had conversations prior to that.
Conversation about what?
Well, it was several conversations.
I want to hear conversations about, listen, you meet someone on Facebook, you get together, you have intimate relations with them. I would like to know what kind of conversations you have about transmitting STDs to each other.
Well, I knew at that point, I knew before that point that she was going to get kind of cycled. And then that was...
No, look at me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Look at me. I mean, I'm trying to figure out what's going on in your mind, Mr. Brown. If what you are saying to me, sir, is that you got this money from her, it was a loan. She's owed the money. She demanded the money from you. You said, you blew her off. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you the next day. Whatever. I'll put it on your card. I'll put it on your card app. I can't get to the bank today. Whatever other excuses you gave her. And then when she said to you, you know, I'm going to put on Facebook that you're a deadbeat, that I loaned you money and you didn't pay me back. And if what you're telling me is your response to her to prevent her from putting out the breached loan agreement on Facebook, you threw out there, well, you gave me an STD. Having no basis for that statement, you didn't have an STD? You had never been diagnosed with an STD? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is that what you did? If you just say yes, don't try to make a whole bunch of excuses and whittle your way. I want to understand something. On your best day, you're not as smart as I am on my worst.
But that's not exactly what happened, though.
So let's start out with, were you ever diagnosed during this period with an STD?
No.
So you had no basis to believe that you had an STD?
No.
And when you told her you were going to put on Facebook the fact that she had therefore given you an STD, that was a lie.
I didn't say I was going to put it on Facebook.
What did you say?
She text messaged me with all this long threat about what she was going to do.
Do you have a threat by him that he is going to broadcast the fact?
No. What ended up happening was when she threatened me with all of this, whatever she threatened me with to put it on Facebook.
She said she was going to legitimately put on Facebook the fact that you're a deadbeat.
Well, all that, whatever she said she's going to do. I told her, go ahead and do it. But I didn't say...
He said... I'll post it.
I'll post it myself. That's no problem.
That's
I have a problem
the very last sentence.
Yeah, I don't get embarrassed by stuff like that.
He texted me afterwards.
Well, she realized that when it wasn't going to embarrass me, that's why she didn't post it. She thought I was going to feel some kind of way or
just be quiet.
All hurt about it.
You may get over with girlfriends with that kind of gibberish. You don't get over it with me.
Well, she already had posted on Facebook.
Just be quiet. Also. You said to her, I didn't go to some clinic because I felt something. I see in capital specialists. Did you write that? People who go through my body with a microscope to make sure I'm good. So I suggest you find a different doctor or use a different kit. That's you. That's you.
When you say it like that, it sounds crazy.
When you say it like that, it sounds crazy. That's what you wrote.
I mean, it's kind of like out of context a little bit.
It's not out of context. It's what you wrote to her. You said you had this disease. She went to the doctor. She had incurred medical bills, all because you were messing around with her head. And then she said, my medical test is clean. And you wrote, oh, well, yeah, I go to a specialist. I go to people who go through my body with a microscope. That's not out of context. That's in context, you idiot. What were your medical bills?
It was $89.
You're suing him for $1,250. The remainder is for emotional distress. You got it. He's an idiot. I would have given you more. What a fool you are. $1,250. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I don't think there's anything confusing about it. I lent you money. You were supposed to pay me back. You didn't.
Nah, because she was acting a little psycho before that.
Well, yeah, he stopped responding to me because I'm crazy.
The text message was to kind of just hoping that she'd just leave me alone at that point because she was acting a little before then.
I mean, I was freaked out. Who wants to think that they have an STD?
Yeah, I shouldn't even took the money. I should have left it to be, and then, we wouldn't be here right now.
I'm just glad I'm getting my money back.
Now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Solis versus Hernandez. Step forward.
Michael Solis is suing fellow tow truck driver Camarino Hernandez for medical expenses, lost wages, and punitive damages after Camarino injured him on the job.
Mr. Solis, you and Mr. Hernandez are tow truck operators, and it is your claim that Mr. Hernandez is responsible for your injured arm.
That's correct.
That happened on what date?
That was on July 14th of this year.
Now, do you own your own tow truck?
I do not.
Do you own your own tow truck?
I do not.
Who do you work for?
We work for a company in Chicago called M&J Towing.
Do you work on salary and commission, or just commission for the number of jobs that you do?
We work on commission for the number of jobs we do.
No. Listen to me carefully.
Yes, ma'am.
You work for M&J Trucking.
Correct.
M&J Trucking sends you a paycheck.
We're paid cash for the number of jobs we do, based off of how many jobs we do.
Who pays you the cash?
The managers of the business.
We're going to get into the business, sir.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
That's where I'm getting into.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He pulled his vehicle in so close to mine, his boom actually catches my arm, and it sort of yanks it forward, as the doctors described, nearly ripping it off.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Michael Solis says fellow tow truck driver Camarino Hernandez severely injured him at work.
M&J Trucking sends you a paycheck.
We're paid cash for the number of jobs we do.
Who pays you the cash?
The managers of the business.
We're going to get into the business, sir.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
That's where I'm getting into. Getting into the business.
Okay.
You pick up your trucks from where?
The tow lot, where they're kept at.
The address of the tow lot.
I'm not sure the exact address by number, but it's right in the vicinity of 49th Street and Halsted.
How many tow trucks does M&J have at that location?
Between them breaking down and whatnot, I'd say 5 and 10 running.
And how long have you been working for them?
Well, I was relatively new to the company, so about a month and a half.
And how long have you been working for M&J?
For about 6 months.
How often are you paid, Mr. Hernandez?
At least once a week.
Are you paid at the location?
Yes.
The name of the person who pays you?
I'm not sure if it's Freddie or Frederico. We call him Fred.
Now, how is it that Fred gives you money? What do you have to show to Fred in order for him to give you money?
We have to show him our tow receipts of the cars we towed.
And how do you generate those receipts?
We save them in our binders and we drop them off to him.
So it's a business?
Yes.
And you work full-time?
Full-time.
Does M&J have workman's compensation insurance?
I'm honestly not sure of that. I would imagine they would, but I couldn't say that in certainty, to be honest.
Well, when you were injured on July 14th, did you report the injury to M&J?
I did.
To whom at M&J did you report the injury?
To that manager, Fred.
And it's clear that with one arm, it's very hard for you to tow cars.
That's right.
Did you not ask him about how you were supposed to work?
I did. And he told me right away that, because the company as a whole, we've known the guy Fred for quite some time personally outside of work. So he asked me right away not to make it like a big insurance fight and lawsuit and all this stuff, because they were going to step up, and take care of me and make sure everything was covered. And by they, I mean both M&J and the defendant.
Right. So what happened with M&J?
Well, again, after speaking with Fred, and he told me they were going to help me, M&J...
And don't go to a lawyer.
Right. M&J actually said that they were going to make sure I am still able to keep an income. So what they did is, instead of the lawsuit and money and all that stuff, they actually gave me a vehicle from an accident that didn't go through as typical. So they gave me the title to the vehicle. And
is what you're telling me, M&J settled with you by giving you a car?
That's right.
Okay, so let's just get it easy.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So he's in his truck ready to go. Your brother's in the truck. You're not in the truck.
That's right. But
so you're not ready to go. You're outside your truck, okay? It's not going to go well for you, sir, because there's a scam here that I'm not quite figuring out.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Michael Solis says, fellow tow truck driver Camarino Hernandez severely injured him at work.
Now, instead of getting a lawyer and going after their insurance, let's not make a big deal about this whole thing. We're going to settle this whole matter by giving you a car.
Well, partial matter, because, again, the agreement at the beginning was that M&J would be responsible for a portion of this loss and that the defendant would also be responsible for a portion.
No, that was never an understanding with the defendant, but you go to M&J.
Well, that's what we all discussed.
Mr. Solis.
We actually all discussed that together.
Okay. All right, now you're going to tell me your story.
Okay.
And then I'm going to tell you that if I were you, I would get a lawyer and sue M&J. Unless you already signed release documents, did you?
No, ma'am.
Great. Now tell me your story.
So what happened is, on the night of July 14th, we were parked in a gas station. In the back of the gas station, the defendant and I were parked next to each other in our tow trucks, with me being on the right-hand side, him being on the left. This was about 3 o'clock in the morning, so it was the middle of the night. I'm standing between the two trucks, smoking a cigarette, kind of taking a little break. My brother was actually there working with me, where he was driving in the daytime, and it's my shift to drive at nighttime. So I jumped in the driver's seat and was getting ready to take off, but first I stepped out, had a cigarette.
Getting ready to take off for where?
Well, getting ready to go to a dispatched accident.
But there was no dispatched accident.
Not yet, but we're trained to always be ready for a dispatch.
Yeah, so you went outside, you were smoking a cigarette, and?
And we both get dispatched, obviously, to an accident. And the way the dispatch works is the first person to get there, that's your accident, so we have to do that.
Yeah.
The defendant, being the reckless person that he is,
Don't tell me he was a reckless person. You've known him for a very long time.
I have.
The two of you know each other for a long time. You know Freddie for a long time.
That's right.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Okay, so again,
you get a call, and?
We get a dispatch, and I'm standing there. We looked at each other and said, we got to go. The defendant decided he was going to try to cut my vehicle off so that I can't get to the accident and he can get it.
Don't tell me. Listen to me. I don't want to hear what you think he decided to do.
Okay.
The defendant is where when you're having a cigarette?
He's in his truck.
So he's in his truck already?
That's right.
And who was with the defendant in his truck?
I couldn't see. I didn't look in his truck.
Did you have someone with you in your truck?
Yes, Your Honor. I had her with me.
So she was with you?
Yes.
Who is that?
That is my fiancée, it's Dominique.
Okay, so your fiancée was with you in the truck that night, and they were sitting in the truck, so they were ready to go.
Right.
You, on the other hand, were outside of your truck, and it takes you a couple of seconds to get into your truck.
That's right.
Right. So if the call came in at the same time, obviously he was going to get there first. Obviously. He's in his truck ready to go. You're standing outside having a cigarette.
Right.
So he's in his truck ready to go. Your brother's in the truck. You're not in the truck.
That's right. But
so you're not ready to go.
I was not. But again, like I said, he wasn't ready to go either.
No, listen to me. You can't tell me whether he was ready. I have to make that judgment. He's in his truck.
But he was sleeping.
He's in his truck. You're outside your truck, okay? It's not going to go well for you, sir, because there's a scam here that I'm not quite figuring out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
It's not going to go well for you, sir, because there's a scam here that I'm not quite figuring out. But the only one who's going to lose is M&J, and maybe you. Now, let's finish. So he's in his truck. He takes off. You start to get into your truck. I would assume that that's what you're going to do, start to get into your truck.
Yes.
So what happened?
Well, as I tried to start to get in my truck, he took off, and when he did, he pulled his vehicle so close to mine that the boom on the back of the tow truck, the boom is the T part. I actually have a picture of one if you'd like to see it, but it's the T part on the back of a tow truck that lifts the car. he pulled his vehicle in so close to mine that while I'm standing there holding on to the top of my door with this hand, his boom actually catches my arm and it sort of yanks it forward, as the doctors described, nearly ripping it off.
Okay, you want to tell me what happened that night?
Well, like you said, I was in the truck. I was ready to go.
Look at me.
We got a job dispatched. I was obviously going to make it there first. He didn't want to pretty much move out the way, so I just kind of took off, and I guess I accidentally hit him.
Well, then I think you should take it up with M&J. You're not going to come here and conspire here. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Take it up with M&J. You both work for M&J. You were injured on the job. Their responsibility. Do you understand? We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Broken several spots, and for that reason I'm not able to go back to work.
I don't know. I think it just feels like it's more my fault.
Until all that heals up, and it's going to be a long time.
Because he shouldn't have been standing there. He should, like, you see me, we're working.
He stopped, but when I told him, hey, you broke my arm, dude, he just kind of sped off and left without that, so.
It was his bone was sticking out of his arm and everything.
He basically left me high and dry, and I had to figure it out.
I hope, you can get over it.
I think it might be time to get a lawyer.
While on your watch, her dog died.
It dug its way out, yeah.
This pet sitter blames the pet.
That was your job, to watch the dog.
They dig out of her yard all the time. It always digs out of her yard.
Hey, listen to me.
Sorry.
Something's wrong with you.
And offers no condolences.
What is this talking about? I'm so glad your dog was taken from you.
She's saying she's glad she's dead.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Susan Budweiser is suing her former pet sitter, Carrie Harnden, for the wrongful death of her dog and damages for harassment and stalking.
Order. All rise. It's case number 236 on the calendar in the matter of Budweiser versus Harden.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Miss Budweiser, you have several dogs.
Yes,
How many?
4. I have 4.
What breed?
I have a Shih Tzu, and Daisy was half Shih Tzu and half Poodle, and then 2 Chihuahuas.
So 4 small dogs?
Yes, ma'am.
You were going on vacation?
Yes, ma'am. I have a picture of them.
I get it, but I need it. You were going on vacation, and you needed someone to care for the dogs.
Yes, ma'am.
And you hired the defendant.
Yes, ma'am.
How did you know her?
I didn't know her. My regular pet sitter was not available, so I asked my vet's office, and they referred her to me.
Did you interview her?
Yes, I spoke with her on the phone approximately almost a year before I went. And then approximately 3 months before I left, I had her to my home to be introduced to my dogs and to see the layout of my house where she would be staying. And show her the security system, and said I would, at a later date, would give her the code and show her where the food was at, etc., and informed her that the dogs were allowed to stay there with the doggy door and all that. So, yes. And then approximately a week.
Just a second.
Sorry?
Your arrangement with her was to pay her for staying in your home.
Correct.
And taking care of the dogs.
Correct.
Not true.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Shh. How much was she to get paid?
We agreed on $750, and I felt that in my heart that wasn't enough, so I had anticipated giving her $1,000, and I gave her a deposit of $400 via check.
But the agreed upon amount was $750.
Correct.
Did you show her where she was supposed to sleep?
Yes.
In what room was she supposed
My
to
bedroom.
Did you ever visit the defendant's home?
No.
Did you know where she lived?
I knew she lived in Crockett.
But other than that, you didn't know?
I didn't know anything about her.
Now, your regular dog sitter is a male or a female?
Female.
And how many times has she cared for your dogs?
3 or 4.
Does she stay in your house,
Yes,
or do
ma'am.
they go to her house?
No, she stays in my house.
That's a lie. She told me she was not.
Just a sec. Hey, listen to me.
Sorry.
Something's wrong with you.
Well, it's
Something's
a lie.
wrong. Just a second.
Okay.
I'm telling you something's wrong with you. It's not that hot in here.
Okay.
You left on vacation when?
I left June 7th and returned the 28th of June.
So that was a long stay.
Yes, I was in Europe with my daughter.
When you interviewed Miss Harden, did you ask her what kind of work she did?
Yes, I did.
And what kind of work did she
She
tell you?
presented herself as an animal activist, caregiver, dog walker, all of the above.
As an animal activist, did she have any of her own dogs?
I never saw them. She said she had dogs. I did, however, see a dog that she was caring for she brought to my home.
Did you ask her, Miss Budweiser, what she was going to do with her dogs when she came to your house to stay with hers.
It was my understanding that she would be going to and from, because she's an animal caregiver and she does different things, walking with other dogs. It was my understanding that she would possibly taking my dogs and going when she did this. I instructed her that it would be fine to...
Just a second.
Excuse me. Sorry.
You know, don't try to guess where I'm going.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So if she had her own dogs, and she's an animal activist, either you permitted her to take her dogs to your house, which is unlikely, having never met them.
Correct.
Or you gave her permission to take your dogs out of your house.
The understanding was she would stay at my home.
No, that's not what I asked you. If she presented herself as an animal activist and she had dogs of her own, then either she was going to have to bring her dogs to your house or bring your dogs at some points to her house.
Occasionally she would be.
Okay.
She would be... Okay.
Occasionally she would bring your dogs to her house.
But to spend the night at my home.
And her dogs would be with whom?
With her boyfriend.
She said she had a boyfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
What's his name? Now you can talk.
Adam.
And he lives with you. Miss Budweiser was away from the 7th of June to the 28th. While in your care, one of her dogs died. You tell me how that happened.
It dug its way out of my yard, and she knew that they were...
Sure, don't tell me what she knew.
Okay.
Nobody knows how to do that yet in this world.
I know.
Figure out what somebody else knows. So the dog was out long enough, unsupervised, to dig its way, according to you, out of the yard, and it got hit by a car.
Yes.
And Miss Budweiser, where were you on vacation?
I took a Rhine River cruise from Budapest to Amsterdam.
She's in Budapest. She wasn't responsible for watching her dog. You were.
Yes.
And you were getting paid for it.
I never did, no. I refused.
You were getting paid for watching her dogs.
Technically, I did, yes, I guess. I never got paid. I never got paid for it.
She never gave you a check for $400?
I returned all money. I returned it.
It's not what I asked you. What I asked you was you were getting paid to watch her dogs, and you had already been given a deposit.
Yes, that I returned.
Yeah, I don't care whether you returned it. I don't care whether you burned it. I don't care whether you made chopped liver out of it. She gave you $400 to watch her dog as a deposit, with an agreed upon $750 for the period. And while on your watch, her dog died. It didn't die of a heart attack. It died because someone was negligent in not watching it carefully and letting it dig out from under a fence, and it got hit by a car.
It dug its way out, Fought to follow me. I was there. It happened right in front of me, so it was not long.
Oh, that...
Just a second. Hey, listen. Does it look like I'm needing any help from you?
No.
So let me understand this, Miss Harden. What you're telling me is you stood there and watched the little dog dig a hole under the fence.
I did not watch that.
Well, that's what I just asked you. You said I was right there.
Her dogs are diggers, so there was a spot. I have that where they were. There's. I
don't care.
Okay. Well, they dig holes.
Listen to me. I don't care.
Okay.
If you know they dig holes, you shouldn't have had the dogs in your yard.
She insisted they come to my house. She would not let me stay at her house because her family member was staying there while she was out of town.
I don't care. That was your job. To watch the dog.
In her house, which she would not let me do.
Just a second.
Days before she went, she would not let me stay at her house. She
Ms.
had
Harden,
a family member
Ms.
who
Harden,
stayed.
There's something wrong with you. Are you on something that I don't know about?
Okay.
I'm asking you
wish.
a question. No, I'm asking you a question.
No, I'm
because
very
upset. Then there's something not right with
I'm
you.
very upset. I have the proof. She was hit by a car, stated by Susan Budweiser. She was hit by a car while chasing after her caregiver. I mean, it's all here.
Put your hand down.
All right, honey.
This is the proof from the day she left. I said, I got your babies, as in I picked them up. Why wouldn't she? And then all the pictures of me sending her with her dogs at my house. If I was to stay at her house, wouldn't she have said anywhere in there, why aren't the dogs not at my house?
Right.
She knew they were coming to my house. She insisted.
I want to know what you're on.
I drank too much on the plane yesterday, so maybe that's it.
Maybe. What I'm telling you is, it doesn't matter whether you were at your house or her house.
Okay.
Your job was to watch the dogs.
Yes.
And under your care, the dog was left unsupervised in the yard
where they use
long
the bathroom.
long enough to dig out
They
of the
dig
back.
out of her yard all the time. One disappeared for 3 weeks because it always digs out of her yard. She had multiple walls.
Okay. What you're suing for is $5,000, and you're suing for wrongful death of the dog. There is no cause of action in this country for wrongful death of the dog.
And harassment.
Okay, good.
I've got all your harassment here, but okay. Death threats from her daughter and her best friend Tabitha. Death threats. Stalking from you two. I have the police report. I'm speaking to the police about her stalking.
I have a restraining order.
I would get in touch with my vet, and I would say to the vet, what kind of nut did you recommend to me for dog sitting for my dogs?
Me all over town.
I'm listening to this. What my concern with you, Miss Budweiser, is maybe her affect was different when you interviewed her.
It was.
It was.
It was an accident. Her dog dug out and got hit by a car. It was an accident. If you're going to turn it into anything more than that, that's absolutely insanity. So sure, turn it into something more than that. It was a total accident.
Can I tell you?
No. Listen to
I have all the proof here. She even said it was an accident. My caregiver is heartbroken. It says right here.
Let me tell you something. Unfortunately, you're supposed to be, according to the vet, you're supposed to be an animal activist.
I am.
Now, I want you to shut up and listen.
Okay?
All right. Try to repress anything that you might have in your system and just listen. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. You're an animal activist. That's what the vet said. So you should be sensitive to what I'm going to tell you. Let's say instead of watching her Shih Tzu Poodle mix, that you were watching 4 of her children while she was on vacation. And you let the 4 children go and play in the backyard. And one of the children, who was 4, managed to open up the gate and get out, ran across the street, was hit and killed by a car. Now, there is a cause of action for that in the law for human beings. She could sue you for your negligence in failing to supervise her 4-year-old, as a result of which the 4-year-old died. Now, you're an animal activist. There are some good ones and there are some nutty ones.
We're all nutty.
No. Well, if you're all nutty, then you would agree with me that this, because I love my animals, that there should be a cause of action when someone is negligent.
Well, it happens
not
on
purpose,
her yard all the time.
Hey, I told you, shut up and listen.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Listen to me carefully.
An accident.
You are so stupid. I'm going to hear her evidence with regard to your harassment, because you're harassing me, and I'm not easily harassed.
And later today,
if somebody doesn't have good enough credit to lease a car on their own, and if you lease it for them, then you're an idiot.
So I'm an idiot for helping someone that was in need at the time.
Yeah.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Susan Budweiser says her former pet sitter, Carrie Harnden, owes for the death of her dog and for harassment and stalking.
Listen to me carefully.
An accident.
You are so stupid. You're so stupid. And I have to, sometimes a judgment has to reflect the stupidity of a litigant. And while there is no cause of action, I'm going to hear her evidence with regard to your harassment, because you're harassing me, and I'm not easily harassed. So I don't know what it is. I can tell you that you're no animal activist.
That's fine.
Because an animal activist would understand that if you would be responsible for a 4-year-old child, even though it was an accident, it happened under your watch.
Well, animals are considered property.
Shut up and listen.
Animals are considered property in the state of California.
Just a second. Well, that's what I said to you. I said if you were a real animal rights activist, you would not consider animals property.
I don't, but the law does.
That's what I just said to you. If you weren't so high on something, then perhaps you would understand that that's what I just said to you. This is not an argument, but you would understand the feeling that, yes, there is
We cried many nights over it. Her and I were best friends after this whole thing happened. This is a retaliation suit because of something else that happened. We were best friends after this incident. I sat at her house with both of these two and drank wine for 3 nights till midnight, drinking and talking and hanging out for 3 nights after my boyfriend called me every night.
I want to see quickly the evidence of harassment.
Total best friends after this.
And stalking. I have stalking also.
I was stalked, actually. You sat in front of my place of employment with your friend, Pat. She was trying to have my friend's kids taken away. She called Child Protective Services on a client. So I was...
And I have pictures of that.
What is this talking about? I'm so glad your dog was taken from you. What is that?
She says, telling me she's glad that my dog is dead.
That's what I said. I said, I'm glad your dog is dead. Yeah, that's what I said. She was trying to have my client's kids taken away with Child Protective Services.
Judge for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. We're finished.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm really happy. Yeah.
Justice was served for Daisy.
I mean, it was awful.
I'm glad that she'll be stopped, hopefully, from doing this to others.
I went above and beyond, and it just was a tragic accident.
I'm glad Daisy has justice, but this has been the hardest thing I've ever had to go through.
And Berquist are suing the mother of Richard's children, Melissa Ackerman, for vandalizing his SUV and having him falsely arrested for assault.
Order. All rise.
This is case number 264 on the calendar in the matter of Berquist Gukin versus Ackerman. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Gukin, this is your mom?
Yes, ma'am.
And the only reason she's here is because she posted the bail for you when you were arrested as a result of a complaint filed by Miss Ackerman.
Yes, Your Honor.
She wasn't present during any altercation. She has no other first-hand knowledge of the events of that day.
No, Your Honor.
So stand as long as you can if you have to sit down.
Can I sit down?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Gukin, you and Miss Ackerman lived together for a long period of time, and you have children together. How many children do you have?
2, Your Honor, and
How
a
old are
stepdaughter. They are, my son just turned 8, and my daughter is 6.
How long have you, two of you, lived together?
Previously, we had been together for 5 years, and then there was a 5-year break in between, and then it was a year that we lived together until this altercation happened.
On what date was the altercation?
I believe it was the 22nd or the 23rd.
Of what?
Of September. Thank you.
This year?
Of this year, ma'am.
What time of the day?
It had started the night before. I came home after being out, just needed to get out of the house, and I asked her to unlock her phone because I had caught her cheating on me.
Let's go back. So on the 22nd in the evening, you left the house?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where did you go?
I didn't really go anywhere. I just drove around Federal Way.
Didn't go to a bar?
No, Your Honor.
Didn't drink?
No, Your Honor.
You left the house because you were arguing?
No, just to get out of the house. I'd been working all week, taking care of the kids at night, trying to keep up with the house as best I possibly can. Picked her up from work and just drove around Federal Way afterwards.
What time did you get home?
I believe it was maybe 1 in the morning.
Do you remember what time you got home on the 23rd?
It was like 1:30.
Okay. What happened when you got home?
She was drinking on the couch. I sat down next to her. I had asked her to unlock her phone.
Okay, you asked her to unlock her phone. And this is 1:30 in the morning?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So all of that sounds to me very stupid. You're out, it's 1:30 in the morning. You're not drinking, she's sitting on the couch drinking, 1:30 in the morning, and you want to go through her phone. Well, it doesn't sound very mature, does it? No. Well, it doesn't to me. Had you been drinking that night?
I had a drink after work, yes.
What time?
When I came home from work, it was like 11:15. The kids were in bed.
Who was babysitting for them?
Oh, he was.
So he was taking care of the children, and you get home from work at 11, and that's when he went out?
Yes.
Had you had an argument with him before he went out?
We argued a lot, but not immediately before, and no, he went to go hang out with a friend.
Okay, next.
She asked for her phone back. I said no, then
Just a second. She asked for her phone back, which means you grabbed her phone.
Yes, Your Honor.
If you grab the phone out of her hand and you say unlock the phone and she says no, that's an argument.
Yes, Your Honor.
But it's already gotten a little physical. Okay, so what happened next?
After the argument had escalated, I tossed her phone down, didn't know where it went.
You tossed the phone on the floor?
No, Your Honor. I believe it was on her bed.
I thought she was on the couch. How did you get into the bedroom?
She had went down to the bedroom, and I had went down to my bedroom as well.
So she tried to get away from the argument by going into the bedroom?
Yes, Your Honor, and
you followed her?
Yes, Your Honor. I was going to go to bed. It is my room,
With
too.
her?
Yes, it is my room as well.
I don't want to sleep with you. You're being foolish. So far, Mr. Gukin, you're not in good shape with me. May change. You know, we go step by step, but it may change. Because what you're suing her for is for false arrest, and your mother had to pay $4,800 to get you out, and she's got a counterclaim for assault. We'll see.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so far you're having a big domestic argument. You've been together for a very long time. You have 2 children, 8 and 6 years old. You went out just driving around for 2.5 hours. She had 1 drink after work. and you come home, and the only thing on your mind is unlocking her phone and looking to see who she's been talking to. She tries to get away by going downstairs to the bedroom. You could have stayed on the couch. You could have done a whole bunch of other things to de-escalate the situation. Instead, you followed her to the bedroom, and you threw her phone. You think it landed on the bed.
Yes, Your Honor, it was on the bed.
Now, when she asked you for the phone back, you clearly didn't give her her phone back because you still had it when you were walking from the living room where she was on the couch to the bedroom. So you kept her phone.
If you look at it that way, yeah.
What do you mean? If I'm listening to what you're telling me, I'm just putting it in an order that I understand. So now the phone is thrown on the bed. And next?
I tried to leave the house to de-escalate the situation.
Just a second. So you threw the phone on the bed, and then you left the bedroom.
Yes, Your Honor. She obviously thought I still had my cell phone.
Don't tell me. Obviously, I don't want to hear what she thought. You're trying to leave the house. And?
She then came outside, slashed one tire on my vehicle.
Just a second. So you were outside?
Yes.
And she came outside and used what to slash a tire?
I believe she used a pair of scissors to puncture the tire. And then
so she
to the
was
other
trying
side.
to prevent you from leaving probably with her phone.
Yes, Your Honor, but I did not have her phone.
Next.
As not trying to leave her without a vehicle, I slept on the couch that night.
So now you have a slashed tire. You're not going to change the what?
Slashed tires, 2 of them.
So 2. So you went inside to go to sleep.
Yes, Your
Had you
Honor.
been shouting at each other?
There was a little bit of shouting, yes.
And your children were where?
In the bedroom, asleep. As I tried to de-escalate the situation, I did wake up my children to then take my Yukon, or our Yukon at the time, over to my sister's house to let everything de-escalate.
Just a second. What time did you wake up your children to take them to your sister's house?
It was about 1:30.
In the morning?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why didn't you leave them home with their mother?
Because she was drunk, Your Honor.
Then what happened?
It got worse, and then I just put the kids back to bed, and...
What do you mean? You woke them up to take them out, and how did it get worse?
She would not let me leave with my kids. She pulled on my shirt, ripped my shirt off of me. I then put my children down and said, I'll just sleep on the couch. Went to sleep on the couch, woke up the next morning, went and bought a pack of cigarettes, came back to do the dishes, and everything escalated again.
What do you mean it escalated again?
I came outside, asked her to please get out of my vehicle. She would not get out of my vehicle.
What vehicle was that? The one with the slashed tires or the other one?
No, Your Honor, it is my 97 GMC Yukon.
And what happened?
She would not let me leave with my children.
Leave with your children?
Yeah, after...
Just a second. So you were going to leave again. Now you had both slept, and you woke up, and you wanted to take the children. What time?
This was probably about 10 in the morning.
And where were you going to take your children?
Over to my sister's house where they like to go.
But you had been fighting with her before.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why didn't you just get in the Yukon and go to your sister's house if you wanted to?
Because I wanted to have a nice day with my children.
You're going to have a nice day with your children. That sounds stupid. I'm going to get her take on it, and then I'm going to tell you, I'll probably tell you both goodbye. You had a bad fight and a bad night. Probably isn't the first time that you had a bad fight and a bad night.
You're probably right.
Right.
More than likely.
Right.
And
okay, so you tried to take your children again, and
she was freaking out, yelling, screaming, making my children freak out, thinking something's extremely wrong.
So you were acting ridiculous.
I tried to
You wanted to take your children out to have a nice day, and that was the precursor to it being a nice day was screaming and yelling between you and their mother. That was the precursor to having a nice day. Something wrong with the two of you. You get where I'm going?
I think he was just trying to leave the situation and let it all chill out.
Yeah. If he wanted to leave the situation, he could have left the situation by himself. He could have called an Uber and taken himself over to his sister's house if he wanted to just get himself away from the situation.
I also did not want to leave my children with an alcoholic mother.
Just a second. The woman that you talk about, that you've lived with and made 2 children with, wasn't drinking in the morning. She was sober. You were sober at 10 o'clock in the morning. The fight just escalated, and now you want to have a nice day with your sister and your 2 children, so in between the screaming match, you try to take them into the Yukon.
Yes, Your Honor.
What happened next?
She would not let me leave. I please asked her to back away from the vehicle. She was outside screaming, freaking out. I tried to maintain...
Freaking out? What does that mean, freaking out?
Thinking that I was going to leave and never bring my children back. That's something I would never do.
Where are the children now? Do they live with their mother or do they live with you?
They live with their mother now.
And was that a court-ordered decision?
Yes, it was.
Did you have a hearing about that?
We had a protection hearing about that. Yes.
Okay. And Miss Ackerman works from when to when?
It was from 5 to 10 o'clock at night.
Where?
Lowe's.
Where do you work?
Swissport Fueling. I work at the airport.
From when to when?
From 6 in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
So that gives you very little time to get on each other's nerves. At what point were the police called on the 23rd?
I'm assuming after I left. After I'd been pepper sprayed, where she discharged.
Just a second. Did you take the children with you?
No. I was at this point done fighting, and I was just done.
So you left the children?
I left the premise.
When did she put pepper spray on your face?
When I was trying to ask her to please get out of my vehicle, she then discharged a can of pepper spray in the vehicle where her youngest daughter was at as well.
Her youngest daughter is not your child?
No, she at that time was my stepdaughter.
She's not a stepdaughter, sir. No. She's not a stepdaughter because you're not married, so she can't be a stepdaughter. And how old is that child?
She's 3 and calls me daddy.
I don't care if she's 3 and calls you I'm late for dinner. She's not your stepchild.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When somebody says to me after work they sat down and they had a drink, and do I think that he was just driving around from 11 o'clock until 1:30 in the morning? Yeah, I'm having my bat mitzvah next year.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Richard Gookin says the mother of his children, Melissa Ackerman, vandalized his SUV and had him falsely arrested for assault. Melissa is countersuing for destruction of property and assault.
Now, were your 2 children in the car as well?
No, Your Honor.
So you were only taking the 3-year-old?
No, Your Honor. My other 2 children had gotten out of the car, and she had climbed in the car. She knows how to climb into my car.
Go. You called the police because?
I called the police on the 23rd because he was assaulting me.
Tell me how he was assaulting you.
I was going into the vehicle to pull out important things in case he did leave. I had birth certificates. I had my lease agreement.
Just a second. Hold on. You know, if something doesn't make sense to me, it may be that it's true. But you'll never convince me that somebody leaves their children's birth certificates, their lease agreement, and all this stuff in a car when they have a house. A house that they've been living in for a while, where you have your 3 children, unless you were planning on leaving and taking the children with you along with those documents. There would have been no reason for those documents to be a car. You want to try to convince me why the birth certificates and your lease agreement were in the car?
They were all in there from registration for school. I just hadn't removed them yet.
Oh, good answer. I don't buy it. Keep going.
So I was cleaning up the car, essentially. I was getting everything of our stuff out of it in case he did leave. And he came out and he assumed that I was looking for my cell phone.
Don't tell me what you assumed.
No, he was saying, your phone isn't in here. Your phone isn't in here. It's like, I'm not looking for that. I'm just getting our stuff. So I was pulling stuff. He was pulling it out of my hands and he was throwing it on the road. He's telling me to get out of his truck. I'm like, I'm just getting our stuff. He starts pulling on my legs. He's pulling my slippers off. My pants are coming half off. And I am kicking him and telling him, get off of me, get off of me. And he's crawling in on top of me, and he's opening up the car door behind my head. And this is a Yukon. The seat is pretty high. He's pushing me out the other way, face first, and I'm trying not to hit the ground. And I'm grabbing onto the seat, and I'm trying to pull myself back into the car. And I'm pulling out my pepper spray out of my pocket at the same time because I knew from the night before that things could get bad. So I was pulling it out of my pocket, and I sprayed him in the side of the face, and he wiped it off the side of his face and wiped it down my face. And I was calling for my son to help me get inside the house because I couldn't see. So Peyton tries to help me into the house so I can wash my eyes out. And he takes me to the bathroom. Richard is standing in the doorway, and he said, it hurts, don't it? And I let go of Peyton's hand, and I feel my way into the kitchen instead. And I'm starting to wash out my eyes. And I could hear my daughter next to me. Mommy, what's wrong? What's wrong? Well, I'm washing out my eyes. And he comes up next to me, and he pushes me out of the way and says he needs to wash off the side of his face, which pushes me into my daughter, which pushes her into the wall. And she starts crying, and I squat down. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to. It's a dream. It's all a dream. I'm so sorry. And he goes, and I can hear Peyton screaming, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And I go outside, and he's trying to load Peyton into the car.
I take him with him, and Peyton doesn't want to go. He's kicking and he's screaming. So I run out there, and he throws it in the back seat, and he's trying to hop into the front seat, and the door is still open. And I'm banging on the back door, and he keeps hitting the button to lock the door. So I can't open it unless Peyton physically hits the button.
How many children are in the car at that point?
At that point, one.
Which child is in the car?
Peyton.
Peyton is how old?
8.
Go ahead.
And I get it open eventually between clicks. And I grab Peyton and I pull him out of the car. And he goes inside. And then Richard grabs Bailey and tries to put Bailey in the car. And the same thing happens all over again. And Richard hops out of the car and he shoves me against the neighbor's van and says, "Now you can tell them I put hands on you."
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The assault was that he took pepper spray from his face and put it on your face. How did the pepper spray get on his face?
I was trying to get him.
No, just a second. No, the pepper spray got on his face because you sprayed him with a pepper spray.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Richard Gukin and his mother, Vivian Berquist, have accused the mother of Richard's children, Melissa Ackerman, of vandalizing his SUV and having him falsely arrested. Melissa has a countersuit for destruction of property and assault.
Okay. Did he leave?
Kind of. He went into the house first.
He went into the house first?
While I was calling the cops.
And he went into the house for what?
Your Honor, I was going to grab clothes.
Did you grab clothes?
No.
What happened?
I just decided the best result is just to leave, let everything calm down.
So you left?
Yes, Your Honor.
And where did you go?
I went over to my mother's house.
And then where did you and your mother go?
After that, we returned to the house.
Her house?
Mine and Mrs. Ackerman's house, so I can get my stuff for work, so I can go to work the next day.
What time?
12:30-ish.
Okay.
And, Your Honor, may I speak freely, please? I had asked my kids if they had wanted to go. They had said yes.
Listen, I find the whole behavior of both of you in front of these children outrageous.
You're correct,
It was
Your Honor.
outrageous. It was outrageous for you to grab her phone. And the fact that Miss Ackerman got pepper spray on her face wouldn't have happened if she hadn't had pepper spray in her pocket and tried to spray you. So that's actually what happened. And what's terribly offensive is that all this happened in front of 3 children, screaming and yelling and pulling and pushing.
I never pushed her, Your Honor.
Listen, let me tell you what you told me that you did. You told me that you grabbed her phone.
Yes,
you
Your Honor.
told me that you kept her phone. You told me that she tried to de-escalate the situation by going into the bedroom. And you told me that you followed her into the bedroom.
Yes, Your Honor.
And threw her phone on the bed. That's what you told me. Okay? And that's your own version of it, very quiet, in a very quiet voice, but that's your own version of it. That doesn't make you a prince.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you the victim of an assault? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, Miss Ackerman, I'm going to tell you that I think that you were loaded. When somebody says to me after work, they sat down and they had a drink,
I was watching movies on my phone.
I don't buy it. And do I think that he was just driving around from 11 o'clock until 1:30 in the morning? Yeah. I'm having my bat mitzvah next year.
All right.
So you're suing her because she called the police. Police came and arrested you, and your mother had to bail you out of jail. What happened with that case?
They declined to press charges.
Okay. After things sort of quieted down and he slept there the night before, you didn't call the police.
I didn't call. I gave up. And I regret it, but I gave up the night before.
No, I'm just asking you. You have to understand, I think that this whole entire incident was absolutely outrageous between the two of you.
It was.
Outrageous. Okay, now, you got busted. If your mother bailed you out, terrific. If she didn't bail you out, you would have spent some time there. Next time, don't take her phone. Now, we're going to get to the assault. You have medical records from this assault? No. And the assault was, if I read this and if I listened to you, the assault was that he took pepper spray from his face and put it on your face. How did the pepper spray get on his face?
I was trying to get him
No,
off
just a
and I
second.
sprayed him.
No, the pepper spray got on his face because you sprayed him with a pepper spray. Now, when was the last time you saw your children?
It will be 2 weeks ago.
Where did you see them?
My sister had picked them up for me.
Oh, that's a very good idea. Okay, good. Your case is dismissed, as is your countersuit. We're done. Thank you.
Excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I didn't do anything. I mean, this is the mother of my children. I've never hurt her.
He's been making my life difficult for the last 10 years.
Because she had cheated on me previously.
He wants to project because he knows that he's done wrong for the last 10 years.
That in the end, we can all just work this out, get along.
He doesn't do anything for them. He acts like he does, but he doesn't.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bowie versus Diop. Step forward.
25-year-old Akila Bowie is suing car salesman Maktar Diop for the return of money she paid for a car or the cost to repair it.
Miss Bowie, you are an Uber driver for a living. Is that what you do?
Yes.
And you needed a car. The car that you were driving evidently wasn't working anymore. You knew the defendant. He buys and sells cars. You found a car that you were satisfied with, and you made a deal to buy it. So far as those the bare bones of this case?
Bare minimum.
Well, that's what it is. You found a car he was selling. You made a price. The price was?
For the car?
Yes.
$5,500.
And how much did you put down?
$1,500.
And he gave you the car?
Yes.
And you were supposed to make payments to him?
I did make payments.
And how many payments did you make?
3.
In what amounts?
100.
So you paid him an extra $300, $1,800. And while you had the use of this car, which was from when to when?
May 12, 2018 until... I still have the car in possession, but I don't use the car because the car is it's the limit car. It doesn't work. The transmission is...
You took possession of the car on May 12th?
Yes.
And the car is still with you? Is the car still in your possession?
Yes, but I don't use the car.
I don't care whether you use it or not. It's still in your possession?
Yes.
And you want your money back?
Yes.
You don't get that.
Okay, so I met Maktar...
Listen to me.
Okay.
You have a contract? Do you have a contract
no,
for sale?
so here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I was forced to sign that. We had a verbal agreement.
You don't have a verbal agreement when you have a signed contract.
No, that's...
Well, I'm telling you what the law is. I want to tell you what the law is.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Akila Bowie says car salesman Maktar Diop breached their contract regarding a car. Maktar is countersuing for the unpaid balance.
Okay, do you have a written contract with him? Is my question. Either yes or no. Can I see it? What year car is this, sir?
2012.
What kind of car?
Ford Fiesta.
I was forced to sign that. We had a verbal agreement.
You don't have a verbal agreement when you have a signed contract.
No, that's...
Well, I'm telling you what the law is. I want to tell you what the law is. When you have a signed contract, you don't have a verbal agreement. It states what the property is. It states what the sale price is. It states what the payments are. Do you understand? It states the entire terms of the contract. The seller notifies the buyer, and the buyer acknowledges that the vehicle is being sold as is, without any warranty of any kind regarding the condition of the vehicle. That's what it says. That's your contract. That's the law.
I'm very aware of that.
Good.
But however, when I met Mr. Maktar Diop, which was in late January 2018, I knew he sold cars. I was desperately in need for a car for Uber.
Miss Bowie, I
got a car for him.
Listen to me.
I got a car.
I don't care. I don't care.
He totally was like very manipulative with the situation.
Good.
Like,
I don't care.
He like made the situation
I have other
seem
things.
like...
I have other things to do.
I understand, Judge. Can you just please hear me out? Is it possible if I can just let you know my story?
I'm telling you what. Listen to me. I'm telling you what the law is.
I need to like really let you know exactly what happened in the situation. It's like ridiculous. So the situation is, when I met him, I knew he sold. When I met him, he told me he sold cars. I really needed a car to drive Uber. The agreement was, if I pay him once I pay him for the car every week, that the repairs for the cars will be done. I wouldn't have to worry about anything.
Who gonna sell you?
No.
I wouldn't have to worry.
I'm giving her exactly 2 minutes, and then I'm saying goodbye to her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He knew that I was unemployed. The only way he was going to get paid is if the car was in working condition so I could work and use the car. I was unable to pay because the car was not working.
Now I've heard enough because I have other things to do today.
And later today,
Where's the title to the car?
I have to file for it and get it requested through the mail.
You gave her $1,000 for the car.
Yes.
She has the car.
Yes, she does.
She doesn't know whether she's a foot or horseback. She has no clue.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Akila Bowie says car salesman Maktar Diop breached their contract regarding a car. Maktar is countersuing for the unpaid balance.
Go ahead.
I needed the car from him so I could work for Uber. He knew that I was unemployed. The only way he was going to get paid is if the car was in working condition so I could work and use the car to work for Uber so I can pay him. I was unable to pay because the car was not working. I left the car with him in the shop and I came back and it was even worse than it was when I brought it to him. I took it to AutoZone. The catalytic converter was shot, and that was a week after, 8 days later, after May 12th. On May 20th, the car was acting up already. I decided to go on with the situation because I was in desperate need of the car. Like, I have bills I have to pay, and also, like, I really needed the car. So we made an agreement that the repairs will be fixed once I signed the paper that you are looking at, Judge. I start making the payments. I start calling him about everything that's wrong with the car, the engine, the transmission, the radiator that still doesn't work. After they changed it.
Now I've heard enough because I have other things to do today. Where is the car?
With her.
Good. Okay. Now you have a counterclaim, and your counterclaim is for the balance due on the car.
Yes.
Which is $3,700.
Yes.
Judgment for the defendant on the counterclaim for $3,700. We're done.
Are you serious?
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He got very weird and creeped out, and I just didn't want to deal with it anymore.
Look at me. I deal with classy women, not that type.
Tried to make it seem like I had to give up something for him to repair the car.
I will not stop helping people, but I will choose who to help and who not.
Case.
All parties in the matter of Raines versus Roberts, step forward.
Natasha Raines is suing her ex-boyfriend, Kenny Roberts, for bail, jail expenses, hotel costs, and rent.
Ms. Raines, tell me from when to when Mr. Roberts was your boyfriend?
Me and Mr. Roberts started talking. And
Mr. Roberts and I started talking.
Mr. Roberts and I started talking October of 2016, Your Honor.
And when did you stop talking?
We stopped talking, I would say, September of 2017.
Now, between October of 2016 and September of 2017, you say he owes you money. Tell me for what specifically?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, between October of 2016 and September of 2017, you say he owes you money. Tell me for what specifically?
Mr. Roberts owes me money for posting his bail.
Now, let's start with that because it's the only actual thing that I'm interested in. Bail. Now, Mr. Roberts, you were arrested and your bail was fixed and it was for back child support.
Well, it was the old back pay warrant from 2013 that was supposed to have been thrown out.
From child support?
Yeah, child support.
How many children were you supposed to be supporting?
One.
How old is that child?
13.
What was the amount you were supposed to pay each week?
At the time, it was $281.
Per week?
Every 2 weeks.
And how much did you owe?
I don't owe anything now. That was back in 2013.
But when you were arrested in 2017.
Yeah.
What were you arrested for?
I guess the courts didn't properly dismiss the case because it was supposed to have been thrown out back in 2013.
Just a second. How much was your bail?
$720 or something like that.
How much was his bail?
$760.
Now, did that bail go towards paying your back child support?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
$760 went to pay your back child support.
Yes.
So that satisfied your child support obligation. Did it or not?
Yes, it did.
Okay. She doesn't have to pay for your child support, right?
Yes. But
so you would say that's your responsibility?
Yeah, but I didn't know. I didn't know that was the case that they was going to do that. Otherwise,
I don't care what you knew. You would say it's not right for Miss Raines, who you were dating, to pay for your 13-year-old child support. That wouldn't be fair, right? I mean, it's...
No.
No. So you have to pay $760 because she paid it, right? She paid it.
Yes.
She paid it. Now, what else do you think he owes you for?
Your Honor, after he got out of jail, we went on a trip.
I don't care about your trip with him. Did you sleep with him on the trip?
I did.
I don't care.
But
what's next?
Okay, he also owes me for expenses while he was in jail.
I don't care about that either. What's next?
Rent. He lived.
I don't care about rent either.
Okay, Your Honor. Well, these are things he owed me.
No, he doesn't. He owes you $760 for child support. That's what he owes you. It's over. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He said that he was wrongly arrested because the case was thrown out and it wasn't connecting the courts or whatever.
Well, at the time I was wrongly arrested, and she knew that. I guess she wanted to, help me out.
I felt bad for him, and he asked if I would post his bail and he would give the money back to me.
I didn't give her a set time or what time I can get her money back, so I guess she felt like
avoiding payment and telling me that he's going to, but not producing the money.
The relationship was over with. She wanted to rush me to get her money back.
It affected it greatly.
Just a lot of her, nagging and, just...
In a way that we're not together anymore.
A lot of things wouldn't just, we just didn't mesh right.
Just know the background of, whether they're going to give you your money back or not.
Yeah, I wish her the best.
Lesson learned.
Oh, I want to put it to bed.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Phillips versus Jackson. Step forward.
LaVonda Phillips is suing her cousin, Rose Jackson, for the value of a car she claims Rose stole from her and punitive damages for forging her name.
Miss Phillips, the defendant is your cousin?
Yes.
And it is your claim she has your car?
Yes.
Ms. Jackson says she purchased the car from you, and that if, in this case, you get the car back, she wants the money that she spent in repairing the car. Do I have it right?
Yes.
Great. So this car, according to your complaint, was a 2000 Mercedes-Benz that was inoperable, correct?
Yes.
When had you purchased it?
Back in 2015, I believe.
Well, let's take it very slowly so that you don't give me any misinformation. You purchased this Mercedes in 2015. From whom?
My brother.
And what's his name?
Robert.
And when did he purchase the car?
He purchased the car from an auction.
He bought it at auction?
Yes.
When?
I don't even remember, ma'am.
When you bought it in 2015 from your brother, how much did you pay him for it?
I just paid for the repairs.
How much?
$700.
So you paid $700 for repairs. What was wrong with it?
It needed motor mounts.
So your brother gave you the car?
Basically, yes, ma'am.
When did it stop running?
March of 2016.
So now we have a car that was given to you as a gift, that in order for you to drive, you had to put in $700. But shortly after you repaired it, it stopped running. And then it sat there, not running. So far, am I getting my story correct?
Yes.
Perfect.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Where's the $200?
It's in my car at the hotel. But I can go get it.
Well, but I don't want to wait for you. I wait for you to go back to the hotel. I'll never get to the gym. I won't get my nails done. Look at my nails.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
LaVonda Phillips says her cousin, Rose Jackson, forged her name and stole her car.
So now we have a car that was given to you as a gift, that in order for you to drive, you had to put in $700. But shortly after you repaired it, it stopped running. And then it sat there, not running. So far, am I getting my story correct?
Yes.
Perfect. Then your cousin and you got into a discussion, and according to you, she wanted to buy it. You said, well, take the car, see what it'll be to fix it, and then I'll negotiate a price with you, right? And instead of doing that, your cousin took the car and had it fixed, and now it's running, right?
Yes.
And you're using it.
My daughter.
Your daughter's using it.
Yes.
And you spent a lot of money. Where is the title to the car?
Well, we had to get a new title. I have the title.
In your name or your daughter's name?
Well, actually, we switched it to both our names for insurance.
So you want her to pay you $3,500 because you say that the deal was once she got the car running, you would negotiate a price with her on how much you would charge her for the car that you had gotten from your brother for nothing that wasn't running well, right? Now you want $3,500 for it.
Yes.
And Miss Jackson says, well, I have the car. And she said, take the car. It's not running, hasn't been running for 2 years. Get it fixed, and I'll sell it to you for how much, Miss Jackson?
She sold it to me for $500.
$500?
Yes.
Well, it sounds reasonable. Did you pay her the $500?
I paid her $300 of it.
You did, in cash?
In cash.
And tell me when.
That will be in July the 7th. I gave her $200 initially, and then on July the 12th, I gave her another $100. And later on, I tried to give her the rest of her money, and she wouldn't take it.
Okay. Did Miss Jackson make 2 payments to you in July of last year?
No.
How much did she give you?
She gave me $100 in April, and then in July, she gave me another $100.
That's $200?
Yeah.
So you say instead of her giving you $300 in total, she only gave you $200?
She gave me $300 in total, but it wasn't $200 at one time.
Okay, so she gave you $300 in total?
Yes.
So according to you, Miss Jackson, you owe her another $200 for the purchase of the car?
Yes, I do.
Right.
Your Honor, I didn't mind giving it to... Okay.
Take it out. Where is it? Where's the $200?
Actually, it's in my purse. Excuse me, ma'am. It's in my purse.
You have it in cash?
Yes, I do.
Go get it.
It's in my car at the hotel.
No, that I don't believe, Miss Jackson.
My car is still at the hotel. That's
why
why
would you leave cash in your car?
Because I'm going back to my car. And seriously, in my purse, I didn't want to be overpacked. I said, I just need this folder right here. This was it.
Okay. Miss Phillips.
But I can go get it.
Well, but I don't want to wait for you because I have things to do this afternoon. I have to get to the gym. I have things to do. I have to get my nails done. I wait for you to go back to the hotel. I'll never get to the gym. I won't get my nails done. Look at my nails.
Yes, I understand. See?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You owe her another $200 for the purchase of the car.
Yes, I do.
Where's the $200?
It's in my purse.
You have it in cash?
Yes, I do.
Go get it.
It's in my car at the hotel. But I can go get it.
Well, but I don't want to wait for you. I wait for you to go back to the hotel. I'll never get to the gym. I won't get my nails done. Look at my nails.
Yes, I understand. See?
Now, you have no case. She's going to give you $200, and then you're finished. You got a car for nothing. You had to have it repaired. It was dead for 2 years. She had it fixed. Now you have it. Now you have it. She has it running that she paid for to have it running. Now you want $3,500 for it?
No, that is not it. I came here for forgery. That before she paid me my money, she took my car out my name.
Oh, well,
that's what I'm very
That's what you're here for?
Yes.
That she forged your name?
Yes.
Well, go to the police. We're done.
Okay.
I'm finished with you.
Thank you,
Judge Judy. I love you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I ain't ever tried to keep her money, and I won't ever do that. That's just not the type of person I am.
I don't have a comment.
It don't sit well with me that she's accusing me of that because I'm not that kind of person.
I don't have a comment.
The title from DMV, when you buy a car, you switch names.
She stole the title.
I don't know. She probably missed me. I don't know.
Out the glove box.
I'm going to always love my cousin. That's one thing for sure.
I just do not. No. I disagree.
If nothing is not written completely, I'm not going to do it. So this was a lesson for me.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Tucker versus Lamoureux. Step forward.
Jennifer Tucker is suing her ex-boyfriend, Michael Lamoureux, for loans she made to him when he was going through a hard time.
Miss Tucker, when were you and Mr. Lamoureux in a relationship?
Our relationship began in June of 2016.
And ended?
September 2017.
What money do you think he owes you?
He owes me money for, there was a time in his life where he was very, very broke. He wasn't working. He was waiting for retirement money from the state of Connecticut. He was waiting for approximately $29,000 to come in.
What was that time?
On June 16th. 2016.
June 16th, that's when you first started to have a relationship. Now, were you living together?
No.
Did you ever live together?
No.
Did you ever live in his house?
I stayed overnight at his house.
How often?
several times a week.
How many is several?
I would go home maybe 2 nights a week.
So you stayed at his house the majority of the week?
Majority.
Right. From when to when did you stay at his house the majority of the week?
It was starting in September.
September of 2016. When did you stop staying at his house 5 nights a week?
Well, he left abruptly. He left to go to Hawaii for 3 months. He left me in charge of his house, his children, his pets.
So, you know, Miss Tucker, I'm not believing you. I just have to tell you, from the get-go, I'm not believing you. When you have a failed relationship and you've been living in his house, that's clear. I read the papers. He left for several months. He went to take care of his grandchildren in Hawaii. You were at his house. Now, you have children, correct? And you do not have custody of your children.
I do have custody of my children.
Did you then?
Yes.
Did you have physical custody of your children at the time you were staying at his house 5 nights a week?
I was a nursing student, so
Did you, Miss Tucker?
Yes,
aren't
I
you
did.
fine? You
Yes,
didn't.
I did.
You did not. You did not have physical custody when you were staying at his house 5 nights a week. How do I know that? Because I'm going to ask him, and because you said it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
One of her children left a box of chocolates out, and your deceased wife's chihuahua ate the chocolate and died.
Correct.
That's what you want me to listen to?
Yes.
You know, I went to postgraduate school for 7 years.
Millions of people across the country are losing weight and improving their health. What do we all have in common? Nutrisystem.
Lose up to 13 pounds and 7 inches overall in your first month. It's your favorite foods made healthier.
No counting, no measuring, no weigh-ins.
Order your 28-day plan and save 40% off every program.
Join the millions who have lost weight and improved their health. Go online right now.
Order Nutrisystem now and for a limited time, save 40% off every program, plus get probiotic shakes free.
Round table pizza?
King Arthur's Supreme and garlic parmesan twists.
Roundtable gets a lot of respect because we show our pizza a lot of respect. Made with only premium ingredients, topped right to the edge. Text pizza to 86677 for exclusive offers like free pizza and wings. Message and data rates may apply.
We're Daybreak, and we're here for you.
Welcome to Daybreak. I'm Kelly Sum.
We'll help you stay safe and informed with accurate news and information.
A former FBI agent is joining the...
And we'll catch you up with the most recent developments.
Reward has been doubled to $10,000.
We're here to help you and your family start your day by getting you the facts you need to know.
Look at that storm track.
Our minute-by-minute forecasts will alert you to any weather dangers that may affect your day.
We do it for you.
Daybreak on KAEF ABC 23. Get the facts right.
Everyone deserves compassion and integrity as they age, and at Especially You Assisted Living, that's exactly what you'll receive. Especially You features a spacious and bright sun and sitting room and garden that makes relaxation and visits with friends and family one of the highlights of your day. Residents at Especially You can enjoy spacious and bright bedrooms in a safe neighborhood, as well as access to a large walk-in bathroom. Be at ease knowing that a geriatric nurse practitioner visits residents regularly and that an LVN is on retainer. The friendly and attentive staff at Especially You will always make sure you or a loved one is safe and cared for.
Maddie! What's up, people? One day, it was take your kid to work day. My dad's a research analyst. You fill in the blanks. I had to build a diorama of the Jurassic period. I got cast as a fence in the school play. How are your allowance negotiations going? My parents are lowballing me. Thanks, Carla. Well, gotta run. I got scouted straight into Taekwondo. So slammed today. Later.
Milk, because being a kid is tough.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jennifer Tucker is suing her ex-boyfriend, Michael Lamoureux, for loans she made to him when he was going through a hard time.
There was a period of time that what you were doing, his house was a midway point between where your children were and where you were. You would visit with them, and they came, according to what I read in the complaint and answer, you did bring your children to his house on occasion, but the children's physical custody, they did not go to school from where you were living.
That is correct.
All right. Well, that's custody. Where they go to school Monday through Friday, whoever takes care of them Monday through Friday has custody of the children. Physical custody. So between June of 2016 and September of 2017, did you have physical custody of your children?
Yes, I have joint legal custody of my children.
That's not
with
what
my
I asked you.
ex-husband.
Do you understand why I'm not believing you? Do you understand what I'm not believing?
But they go to school in the town of Watertown, Connecticut, where my ex-husband lives.
They live with their father in Connecticut and go to school from their father's house in Connecticut. Does that exist today as well?
Yes.
Yes. So that you have joint legal custody, maybe, I don't know that, but your father has primary physical custody and you have visitation with them, I assume, on weekends.
And oftentimes during the week as well.
Maybe, if you get there. Okay, fine. As long as we understand where it's at. Now, in the time when you were staying at his house 5 nights a week, and then when he went away to Hawaii to take care of his grandchildren, is that the period of time that you say he owes you money for?
Yes, he does.
Okay. And when you were living at his house, how much rent did you pay?
I have my own mortgage, so we never...
That's not what I asked you. When you were living at his house...
I didn't pay any rent.
Well, do you understand where we're going, Ms. Tucker?
I do.
Very good. I'm glad you understand where we're going.
But I feel like I need to explain a little bit more.
You have 3 minutes, and I have a very busy day.
I also
have
have my own mortgage. I was paying all of the household bills for his home and my own, taking care of his children and my own, going to school.
You weren't taking care of your own children.
Yes, I was.
Your children live with their father. He has 2 children. One was 17, one was 20, 2 boys. The
his
20-year-old
youngest was 15 at the time, and we were very close. And
Ms. Tucker, 3 minutes are running out very, very fast. Come on.
I paid every single household bill from June to January.
Good. Great. And you live there?
I did not live there.
Okay. We're done. You have a stupid counterclaim. I'm going to tell you what your stupid counterclaim is.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You have a stupid counterclaim. I'm going to tell you what your stupid counterclaim is. While she was there and her daughter was visiting, according to you, one of her children, who she had for a visit, left a box of chocolates out, and your deceased wife's chihuahua ate the chocolate and died. That's one. And then she was baking cookies another time and left cookies out, and the other chihuahua ate some more chocolate and had to go to the vet.
Correct.
That's what you want me to listen to?
Yes.
You know, I went to postgraduate school for 7 years. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I feel used.
I think she just wants money.
He took whatever he could from me and left. Even the shoes that he's wearing today, I purchased for him.
And I bought these shoes.
And I wanted him to have accountability.
She didn't like the fact that I didn't express my feelings towards her.
He can go home knowing that he has zero integrity.
I never said the ILU.
And zero accountability for his actions.
I dodged a bullet today.
I hope that karma comes back and bites him.
And for the rest of my life.
An employee forced out?
You didn't work for him very long.
No, I did not.
After the boss forced himself on her?
She put on social media that I fire women who don't take my sexual advances.
I take allegations of sexual harassment seriously. Be real careful with me.
Yes, ma'am.
Did Mr. Ben Israel make sexual advances to you?
Yes.
I want you to know something. I'm a truth machine.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Elena Menz is suing her former employer, Bartholomew Ben Israel, for unpaid wages.
Order. All rise. It's case number 20 on the calendar in the matter of Menz versus Ben Israel.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
This Menz, the defendant has a house cleaning service company. And according to your complaint, you were an employee of his for some time.
Yes.
You worked at an hourly wage.
Yes.
At some point, you asked him for a raise.
Yes.
Which he reluctantly gave you.
Not true.
According to both of you, because I've read your answer, one of the things that you said to her was, don't tell any of the other employees because I'm giving you a raise, but I'm not necessarily raising their hourly rate. That be a fair statement of what I read in your answer?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that would be a yes. I'm giving you a raise. Don't tell anybody else.
Yeah.
Now, I guess I'm going to start with you, Mr. Ben Israel. First of all, you have a counterclaim.
Yeah.
Because she says you owe her wages, that you fired her. And when you fired her, there was an outstanding bill that you had for her hourly wage. What your service does, if I'm not mistaken, is you have clients, and your clients hire your company to provide people to clean their homes.
Correct.
Let's say you charge your clients $25 an hour.
Right.
You pay your employees $15 an hour. You make $10 an hour.
Right.
Your counterclaim is twofold in her request for her last paycheck. One, you say she has some of your cleaning equipment.
Correct.
Now, I'm not an idiot, and this is not show and tell. I assume that's his cleaning stuff.
That is.
Officer Byrd, would you, before you get to 6 across, would you take this and send it over to the defendant?
It's also the uniform.
Just a second. He's sending it. Thank you. I thought that was funny, Bert.
It was hilarious. It was 6 down.
Now you have Mr. Ben Israel. That's what she has that belongs to you. The second part of your complaint is that you... Just a second. The second part of your complaint is that you lost a customer. And the customer that you lost was a customer that Miss Menz had been working for. And she canceled her service with you after you fired Miss Menz. So another part of your counterclaim is for slander and loss of business.
Yeah.
Do you have that person with you? The answer is yes or no.
Do I have what person?
The person who fired you.
No, I do not.
Well, so that you have no cause of action for slander.
I have an email associated with her
firing you?
Yeah, the client not wanting to hire.
I would like, just a second, even though it's hearsay, I'm going to read it and see whether I think there's anything slanderous, like you have a sexually transmitted disease, or you are a pedophile or something, or whether she's just saying he's a dishonest businessman who didn't pay me my last week's salary check. Okay.
Now, that's from a client.
You mean the email part where she says that the plaintiff said that you were refusing to pay her overtime, so she's no longer working for Pure Clean? Is that the email that you... Just a second. Yeah. I want to be clear. Yeah. This is what you say is slander.
Well, her conversation with that client about a statement that was not true is essentially why we got fired. So she
Just a second. What does essentially not true mean?
Okay, it's not true.
What's not true?
The statement of her not getting paid overtime. By the state of Minnesota, she wasn't even entitled to overtime.
Just a second. That's not slander. So your counterclaim's now dismissed.
But she...
Listen to my words. This didn't say we're firing your firm, Mr. Ben Israel, because the person who's operating the firm is a pedophile. He's a thief. He employs underage children. Didn't say any of those things that are illegal or anything gross, right? She said she had a salary dispute with you because you were refusing to pay her overtime. And the question about whether she was entitled to overtime is a question of fact. So she's allowed to say to the people that she was working for, I got fired because I asked for overtime and he refused to pay me overtime and therefore he fired me. She's allowed to say that. So what I'm telling you is you have no case against her.
Okay.
Period. Now I'm moving forward, Mr. Ben Israel.
It wasn't, according to the state of Minnesota.
I don't care whether
I told
it's
her
according
that she knew
to the Gospel of St. Paul. It doesn't matter. It's not slander. Do you get it?
No, I don't. Can you
well,
please
then
give me
go to law school. I'm telling you, it's not slander. Now, let's get to whether or not you owe her any money. How long did you work for him?
I worked for him about right after Christmas. I got hired.
Christmas of 2017?
Yes, ma'am.
So you didn't work for him very long?
No, I did not.
Okay. The period of time for which you claim you were not paid is from when to when?
Okay, so 3/12/18 to 3/16.
3/12 through
my last day of 4/19. So he was short on multiple pay periods. So I didn't get paid for the very last check at all.
All I want to know is when you didn't get paid at all.
Okay.
I'm not interested in short.
So
do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not interested in short because you did
I'm sorry.
Because you did in fact go back to work, even though you were short $12, $8, $16. I'm not adding up those numbers. I want to know when he didn't pay you, from when to when.
Okay, it's 4/9 all the way to 4/19.
And you were paid by check?
Yes, personal check.
Personal check?
Yes.
Why do you pay with a personal check if you're a company, Mr. Israel?
She get paid with a company check.
Well, let me see a copy of the check.
I don't have my checkbook with me.
I have copies of checks.
Just a second. Why wouldn't you bring that?
Why would I not bring my
Why
business
wouldn't
checkbook?
you? Yeah, if you're coming here today and the dispute is over salary, why wouldn't you bring your checkbook?
Because I had no intent to write a check, but it's her burden. She's supposed to prove that I didn't write a check.
This is evidence. We're not talking about burden. I wasn't asking you to write a check. I was asking you to show me that you paid her from 4/9 to 4/19.
So.
Not so. I want you to show me that you paid her. That would require your check. She can't show me.
She's supposed to be disputing overtime.
No, I'm not talking about overtime.
That's her claim.
No. Listen to me.
That's her claim.
No, listen to me carefully, sir. She says she worked from 4/9 to 4/19.
Yeah.
And she wasn't paid. I haven't discussed the hourly yet. She can't show me what she doesn't have. You can show me that she was paid from 4/9 to 4/19. And that would require you showing me your checkbook or a copy of a canceled check. Do you understand?
This is her copy of her timesheet. And that's
all
what
right, now then let's go to her timesheet.
There you go.
Did she work on 4/9?
Yes, she did.
Did she work on 4/10?
Yep.
4/11?
Yes.
When was the next day she worked?
The 12th.
When was the next day she worked?
The 13th.
And when was the next day she worked?
The 16th.
When was the next day she worked?
The 17th.
When was the next day she worked?
The 18th.
Did she work on the 19th?
Yes.
Okay, she did not work thereafter. Thereafter, you let her go. Fine. Now, you can show me proof. We're not getting to the amount. Show me proof that you paid her from 4/9 to 4/19. She can't show me what she doesn't have. If you didn't pay her, she can't show me a copy of a check.
Right.
You can show me your checkbook.
So for this pay period, she did not receive her check.
Okay, great. Then.
Because she had a...
just a second. So for this pay period, for all those days, she did not receive her check. And what did you agree to pay her? Just listen to me. When you gave her a raise, what did you agree to pay her? How much an hour?
14.
Is that...
That is correct. And
that's all I want to know.
Yes.
$14 per hour. How many hours did you work between 4/9 and 4/19? Just what I love. A case that ultimately involves math.
73.45.
74 hours times.
So part of those hours were deep
equals $1,036.
So with deep cleans, we get $15 an hour. So part of those hours are at $15 an hour.
That's not true.
Just a second. Take a look at your thing. Your thing must show you how many hours were deep clean.
Yeah, she didn't get any extra pay for deep clean.
Just a second. Show me something, Miss Menz, and I'm getting very bored with this case already. We're at the board line. Show me something in writing that says that you get an extra $1 an hour for deep clean.
So I don't have that.
Just a second. If you say I don't have it, just say I don't have it. I told you I'm getting bored with this already. $1,036 judgment for the plaintiff.
But our text messages.
We didn't go over the defamation of character.
Just a second. Our text
messages show that I have it says deep clean today.
Pay careful attention to me.
Yes, ma'am.
I asked you to show me something that says that you get paid extra for deep clean. Do you have it or do you not?
I have statements saying deep clean, but it doesn't say $1 more. But on
just a second.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's it. The answer is no.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Tell me what she said on social media.
She put on social media that I fire women who don't take my sexual advances, and I...
Oh, different story. Oh, that's a different story. Now we're talking business.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Elena Menz says her former employer, Bartholomew Ben Israel, owes for wages as a professional cleaner. Bartholomew is countersuing for equipment, loss of clientele, and slander.
Now, I handled your case for slander. I asked you to show me evidence
you
of
spoke
slander.
Specifically about the client, not about social media and her defaming.
What did she say? Just a second. Tell me what she said on social media.
She put on social media that I fire women who don't take my sexual advances, and I.
Oh, different story. Oh, that's a different story. Now we're talking business. Can I see what she wrote to you about on social media? Because if you said that, and if you don't have proof of that, you're going to proof. Just a second. If you have proof, great. Then
I'm a witness of some of the sexual advances.
Don't say a word.
I have.
I want to see the sexual.
Post.
That part of the defamation. Hold it. Okay. Now, Miss Menz.
Yes.
I want you to be very careful with me.
Yes.
What are you doing?
I'm looking for my evidence as well.
What do you mean looking for your evidence? Where did you think you were coming today?
Oh, no, I'm bringing it up on the phone. I'm sorry.
Just a second. All I want to know is, did Mr. Ben... Look at me.
Okay.
Did Mr. Ben Israel make sexual advances to you?
Yes.
When?
We went out on a meeting.
Look, I want you to know something. I'm a truth machine.
Yes. We went to dinner like the first couple of weeks I was working there.
Just a second. You went to dinner.
With another employee. We were celebrating.
Oh, just a second. Be real careful with me.
Yes, ma'am.
Within the first couple of weeks you were working there, you went to dinner with the defendant, with another employee.
Company.
Another female.
Yes.
Female employee. So the three of you went out for dinner.
Yes.
We all were invited, Your Honor.
Now you can put her out.
It's my witness.
It's your witness when you call her. Right now, she is an annoyance to me because she shouts out. Do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect. Now, you and one other female employee went out for dinner.
Yes. Before she worked there.
And
so we had dinner, and he was having a few drinks.
Make sure you tell me the truth, because then I'm going to question you about why you stayed.
Okay.
So keep going. So
here we were having dinner. He had a few drinks, and he was just kind of, uncomfortably touching me, and I thought it was just because he was drinking, brushing.
You mean like this?
Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, like he was getting.
Just a second. And
he was just
and
he was feeling good, just drinking.
Just a second, and
that's it.
Well, so then he never sexually harassed you. I don't care how you felt. Do you understand?
Yes,
because however you felt at that moment, you continued to work for him, and I guarantee you that you had a drink too at dinner.
Actually, I did not. I had a pop.
Yeah. Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I take allegations of sexual harassment seriously, so I resent because it diminishes diminishes real sexual harassment when you have somebody that's got another agenda like you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Elena Menz has accused former employer Bartholomew Ben Israel of withholding her wages as a professional cleaner. Bartholomew has a countersuit claiming Elena falsely accused him of sexual harassment.
Now, I take allegations of sexual harassment seriously.
Yes.
And I think anyone who has been the victim of sexual harassment in a workplace deserves to be compensated.
Yes.
Listen to me carefully.
I understand.
So I resent because it diminishes real sexual harassment. When you have somebody that's got another agenda like you.
I don't have another agenda. He sent me pictures.
Just a second. I said, were you ever sexually harassed by him? That's the story you told me.
And then I'm moving on to the further.
Tell me.
Okay, so when I was working with... I
don't want to hear you. You complained about something.
Okay.
Listen to me. You complained about something unless you want to withdraw your counterclaim.
Okay.
Look at me. Unless you want to withdraw your counterclaim, I'm going to hear whatever other evidence she has.
Perfect.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Now, I want you to tell me what other things he did to you to sexual harass you.
So he sent... I don't have it because I erased it.
Well, don't tell me what you don't have.
Okay.
Don't tell me what you don't have. Tell me what you have.
I have inappropriate pictures that he sent.
That he sent to you?
Yes.
I'd like to see them. Don't say anything. Why is this an inappropriate picture?
I mean, why would you send a
Just a second.
shirtless picture to an employee?
I mean, I just want to know why it's an inappropriate picture, because maybe he's a schmuck. I don't understand.
Guess, I mean, to me, it was inappropriate.
Maybe. But this isn't an inappropriate picture. It's a picture of him.
Those were taken off my Instagram, my Facebook page. And
just a second. Is this on your...
I help people lose weight.
Just a second. I don't think that this is an inappropriate picture. I would think that it's... Listen to me. I would think that it's inappropriate behavior and stupid to send this to an employee.
I agree.
As I would agree that this is inappropriate and stupid to send to an employee. If what you are telling me, Mr. Ben Israel, is that this came off of your Facebook page and she says that you sent it to her.
No, you
Just a second. If she's telling me that this was sent to her and you can establish to me that she took this off your Facebook page, I'm granting your request, because I see she's got no other evidence there.
I'm not even on his Facebook page.
Just a second.
I'm sorry.
Just a second. Show me how he sent it to you. Because now we're in checkmate. Now we're in checkmate.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You show me where he sent these pictures to you, because you would agree, Mr. Ben Israel, that this would be inappropriate to send to an employee.
Definitely, I would, yeah.
So it's saved into my photo drive? Because your photos automatically saved because I erased those pictures.
Listen to me. Listen to me.
Okay.
You know what, Miss Menz, that's going to cost you? $1,036. That's what that's going to cost you.
Okay.
Posting that thing, accusing him of sexual harassment, and then lying to me.
I'm not lying, but
telling me.
I'm
well,
not
now
lying.
he's going to show me where it's on his Facebook page. Bird, may I get that, please?
I think you guys got bad Wi-Fi here.
We don't have anything bad here.
I'm just waiting for it to load, but these are screenshots that she sent to herself. And then she showed it to her a friend, which was an employee that worked for us. And she sent it to me to show what she was posting. So she went to my page, took the pictures off, and then sent it to herself as if I'm sending her messages.
You mean setting up this case? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what she did. That's exactly what she did. It's going to cost her $1,036.
Thank you.
You don't have to pay her anything. What she said was outrageous. It's going to cost her her money. And she owes you an apology.
Yeah. Thank you.
Got it? We're done.
Parties are excused. May step out.
Excuse me, Your Honor. So is there a counterclaim?
Yes, I'm giving you $1,036.
Okay, but not the $5,000.
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
It's obvious that the lady was lying. She intentionally went out there to try to destroy my character. I did nothing to that girl but try to help her.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
It's the cost of doing business.
We were fighting about finances predominantly.
A combative couple strapped for cash.
Domestic arguments sometimes get out of hand, and the fight escalated into something more physical.
Yes.
And the police arrived, and you were arrested.
Was she the one who lashed out?
Peralta had multiple skin abrasions on his body. Did you put your hands on him?
Absolutely not.
Did you bite him?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Casey Massacre says she was falsely arrested after ex-boyfriend Daniel Peralta told police she assaulted him.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 116 on the calendar, the matter of Massacre versus Peralta.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Massacre, the defendant is your ex-boyfriend, and you lived together, I assume, for a period of time. And while you were living together, you had a fight.
Yes.
Right? What were you fighting about?
We were fighting about finances predominantly.
How long did you live together?
We lived together for about a year at this point, pretty much exactly a year on the dot.
And on what date did you have this fight about finances?
February 6th, Your Honor.
Was the fight about him not contributing enough, you not contributing enough?
It was about me not contributing enough monetarily.
Okay. Were you working?
I am.
Were you then?
Yes, I was.
Were you sharing the bills?
We were sharing the portion of rent that we paid. I paid a very minimal amount.
And he thought you should be paying more?
He thought that I should be paying more.
Yes.
Okay. And that's what the fight was about.
Exactly.
Okay. And the fight escalated into something more physical.
Yes.
As a result of the fight escalating into something more physical, the police were called. Who called them?
I called them.
That's not true. Sorry.
Who called the police?
I called them. I'm not sure if he called them as well, but I called them.
You both called them?
Yes. And when
Just a second.
Okay.
And the police arrived and you were arrested.
Yes.
And that's what you're suing him for. You're suing him for having you falsely arrested.
Yes.
So now we're going to get to the physical end of this confrontation.
This kerfuffle?
Yes, we're going to come to the physical part of this and find out whether or not, since you both called the police, which I assume you did as well,
yes,
correct? That he said something that was false that caused you to be arrested, okay?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I may let you speak because domestic arguments sometimes get out of hand. Had you ever had a domestic argument that got out of hand before?
Yes, we had.
And had the police ever been called previously to your house as a result of a domestic argument that got out of hand? That's either a yes or a no.
Sorry.
Did the police come to this house or a different residence?
They came to this house.
How much prior to February 6th had they been to the house?
It was merely a month or so. Well, not merely, but it was about a month.
Was anyone arrested at that time?
No, he left prior to the police coming.
No one was arrested?
No one, sorry.
Now, during the course of this physical altercation, an argument about rent, did he put his hands on you?
No.
During the course of this physical altercation, did you put your hands on him?
Absolutely not.
Did you bite him?
No.
So there was no physical contact whatsoever between the two of you?
No.
Good. Do you have a police report?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Would you like the detailed one, or would you like the... I'll give you both.
I want the police reports. You acknowledge, Miss Massacre, that you threw an object at Mr. Peralta.
No.
Now
I threw an apple at the door.
No.
Which he was in front of.
You
cornering me in the bed.
Well, that's not what the investigation reports. The investigation reports, I arrived at the scene, I activated my department, talked with Casey Massacre, and this was her pre-admonished statement. Massacre stated she threw an apple at Peralta and used a lamp to separate her from him. Massacre said the incident was never physical. Officer DeSario informed me Peralta had multiple skin abrasions on his body. Peralta stated those scratches and abrasions were caused by Massacre scratching him with her nails. Massacre did have visible abrasion on her left knuckle, but did not have any flesh under her nails. Based upon Peralta's visible injury, I believe, according to the police officer, that Massacre was the dominant aggressor and placed her under arrest for domestic violence.
So 100% that is the case, but if I may speak, I haven't really had a chance to get into the details, but we were fighting over the lamp. I did use the lamp to separate us. We sleep on opposite sides of the bed. He was in front of the door. I am disabled and technically immobile. I don't drive. So it's hard for me to pack up my service dog, grab all of his belongings, his wipes, water, yada, yada, and just go catch an Uber. It's money, it's time. I did leave. I went up the street to the park. I left there. I would come back because he followed me screaming all of my business, which wasn't my business, to the neighbors. I'd come back. I would go in the backyard.
How did he get scratches on his arms?
Okay, so he got scratches. I'm not sure exactly if they were on his arm or whatnot, but I know I went back into the room. He followed me again. I sent my dog out. I was about to leave. He, comes, listen.
How did he get scratches on his arm?
When the police came, after we were fighting over the lamp, when I looked, we had had time to talk and speak and whatnot. He didn't have any scratches on him. We were fighting over the lamp that I reached over my side. It was already broken. It was a standing floor lamp, one of those little flimsy ones with the thing off. So he grabs it. I grab it. I'm just, moving
move. I'm trying to barricade myself, get out of the door, the same one that was behind him that I threw the apple at, a rotten apple. So with that said, he didn't have any scratches that I saw from fighting. Physically, we were wrestling over this broken lamp. So that happened when the police came.
Let me explain something to you. He's not paying you any money.
Okay.
Good. You got into a fight. You both called the police. I assume you called the police alleging domestic violence. I assume he called the police alleging domestic violence.
He was screaming.
I'm
They came with their guns drawn, and he was clawing his face as they came. Literally, he came out clawing his face and screaming because they had guns drawn at him.
Listen to me carefully. Police now are very sensitive to domestic violence.
No, they were laughing the whole time. They told me they only arrested me because of the OJ law.
Your case is dismissed.
That's fine.
Good. Now, you can't talk over me. I take domestic violence very seriously. You see what you're doing?
So far.
You're talking over me.
That's fine.
You're talking over me.
Police
now, you're talking over me.
I'm not talking when you're speaking.
Do you understand? Your case is dismissed.
You
I
said
take
that,
domestic
so what more is there to
violence
say?
very seriously.
I understand, but you do not.
Both sides.
You do not.
Police.
If you saw any of the evidence, the piles of evidence I have, that wouldn't have happened. I have police reports. He owes me thousands of dollars. And that's why he thought that I should be negating something. When the police arrived, they spoke. They had handcuffed him immediately. They had guns drawn.
I think it was the right decision.
He was hysterical. I was just, oh, yada, yada.
I don't think I owe her money for her physically attacking me and then getting sent to jail.
It was a false arrest strictly because he said that I scratched him.
I have not spoken to her since and will not speak to her again.
Parties, please step forward.
Tobias Eagle is suing his former friend, Joshua Ulrich, for cryptocurrency profits and equipment.
Mr. Eagle, you and Mr. Ulrich were friends. You were traveling together for business. What kind of business were you in other than this cryptocurrency?
First off, we weren't friends initially. We were first business partners, and we worked together underneath my mentor through his company, Symbio. Yes.
Okay. And what kind of business?
It was teaching workforce development for, I guess you could say, people who needed skills so they can be prepared for engineering jobs.
Okay. You worked at the same company?
Yes.
Okay. And when did you decide to go into this business together?
Around January to February 2021.
This has to do with cryptocurrency?
Yes.
Okay. This cryptocurrency business that you went into together, did you form a company or an LLC?
He had already had a company established. I was doing it more as a recreation, but...
So the answer is you and the defendant, when you wanted to go together into this business, did not form a separate company?
No.
So individually, it is your claim on equipment for this new company?
Yes.
And you were supposed to share whatever profits there were in this new company. And quite frankly, I know nothing about cryptocurrency. I am of the Charlie Munger school of cryptocurrency. I think it's all about the emperor's new clothes. And unless I can feel it, touch it, taste it, smell it, or bite on it, it doesn't exist. So I want you to know that's where I'm starting.
Yes.
Okay? So you're going to explain to me what the business was that you were doing with him that involved buying $20,000 worth of equipment, which you now say is in his possession that you want back.
Yes.
Cryptocurrency.
Okay. He mentioned that he knew how to mine cryptocurrency. Okay. That's how we use it.
I understand that those are the words that you use. Where is the mine?
May I explain cryptocurrency to you a little more too, Your Honor?
Oh, I'd love to hear you.
For generating profits from cryptocurrency, there is no physical mine, as you may already be aware. It's not like mining gold.
Yes. It's not like anything. It's like the emperor's new clothes.
Yes, ma'am. But essentially, cryptocurrency...
That's why it collapsed.
Yes. Cryptocurrency mining is just...
You know that it collapsed.
Oh, yes. It collapsed.
Everybody knows that it collapsed.
Yes, ma'am.
Charlie Munger predicted that a long time ago.
Yes, ma'am. But essentially...
Do you know that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So what you were involved in is a shill game of Emperor's New Clothes, which would have involved all of your investors. Who was it that created cryptocurrency? The Winklevoss?
I don't know who created cryptocurrency.
Brothers? I don't know. Not sure. In any event, somebody had a vivid imagination.
Yes, ma'am. But all crypto is we essentially use our computer resources, specifically a piece called a graphics card that is really good at solving equations. We essentially solve equations for money. That's really all mining is. And
you
so
solve
we generate revenue.
equations for money?
Yes, ma'am.
What equations?
I don't know the specific equations. Essentially, the equations are so complex that when you solve them, you're rewarded for your time and the effort that your computer put into it. And that's where the revenue transactions, the same way you might want to make sure that a transaction on your bank statement is legitimate. And so we were paid for validating these transactions.
You sound like a really bright young man.
I appreciate that, Your Honor.
You really should find something important to do.
I have changed sectors since then, Your Honor.
You have equipment that he paid for?
No, Your Honor. I would actually like to
Just a second. I'm just asking a question. I thought maybe we could resolve this. Show me what equipment you purchased, sir, the receipts for it, and tell me where it is.
And so we're not here specifically for the GPUs that he claimed.
The what?
GPUs, graphic cards.
Just a second. Don't say anything to me, sir. You have the counterclaim for equipment.
I have it for equipment and cryptocurrency assets.
I'm not bothering.
Tobias Eagle claims his former friend, Joshua Ulrich, owes for cryptocurrency profits and equipment.
And by the first quarter of 2021, I am suing the defendant, Joshua Ulrich, for cryptocurrency profits and return or value of equipment.
Yes.
I'm not concerned about cryptocurrency profits, because I think cryptocurrency is a whole lot of who shot John. And the only ones that probably got skunked are any investors that you put into cryptocurrency.
Well, it still has value, so.
Well, you know something? You tell that to all the people who lost billions in the last 2 weeks. Would you mind just showing me the equipment that you purchased and receipts for it? I didn't ask you for anything.
Yes, Your Honor.
Equipment that you purchased. Okie dokie.
And so for this equipment, it was purchased through an auctioning site. And so they only have a year delay, and then that was the only information I was able to receive from them.
That's not helpful to me, sir. That's not helpful to me at all. I can't, what am I supposed to do with this?
That's just showing that I have proof that I purchased the equipment.
It doesn't show me how much.
It wasn't how much I bought it for. It was because I plan on rebuying the equipment. And so that's just proof that I bought the equipment and that.
Hewlett Packard server.
Yes. And I have a price
one
break.
small pallet of miscellaneous battery backups.
Yes. And there were specifically 12
and
of those.
2 Dell towers.
Yes.
Everything here are things that you want back from him.
Yes.
You have nothing in your house of these things.
Of those things, no. Those are in his barn right now.
Okay. Do you have these things?
No, Your Honor.
Did you ever have this in your possession?
Yes, at one point I did have it in my possession.
When?
I had it in my possession when we were at a shared facility that was in Rancho Cordova.
Now you're not in a shared facility anymore.
Yes, ma'am. Since we were in a shared facility, I have never had the equipment in my possession. Furthermore, the equipment that he's talking about has nothing to do with this case. This case is primarily around the assets.
You have no idea how simple I'm going to make this, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
He has receipts for certain equipment.
I have receipts for more equipment, and I have a very
Just a second. You have the counterclaim for equipment. I'm not bothering with that.
Okay, no worries, Your Honor.
Yeah, no worries. No assets.
No
there are no
problem, Your Honor.
cryptocurrency assets. Where is the equipment that you claim he has that belongs to you?
It was originally at his house when we moved out of the facility. I relocated all of it to his house. I have an inventory ran on the last day I was at his house, marked with the location, the equipment, and a lot of details. I would love to show it to you, Your Honor, if that's acceptable.
Just a second. Do you have...
On that list? No.
No. Do you have any equipment at your house?
Yes.
What equipment do you have at your house?
The graphics cards that he's talking about.
So you have the graphics cards that belong to him?
No, they belong to me mostly. So I bought most.
What do you mean that they belong to you mostly?
I bought most of the graphics cards. He put in some money for some equipment expenses. And for my estimates, which I wish I could have asked him, was around $3,000 that he put in. And I put around $15,000.
How do you expect a court to dissect this business mess that you've created?
I'm not here for the GPUs or graphics cards. That's why I completely left them out.
No, but he has, I understand that.
Sorry.
How do you expect somebody to pick apart this legal morass that you have, except to say that all of the stuff should be sold?
Understood.
I don't have any value of what you claim you spent for this because there are no amounts on it.
Yeah,
well, that's a problem.
I do have documentation, Your Honor. of all of it, and it's labeled who purchased it and the amounts. In addition, the second page here has the totals that he was talking about, and the documentation pages are below
now,
that.
Great. There isn't a lot of very expensive stuff that you paid for, Mr. Ulrich.
There's not too much, no.
No, there isn't too much expensive stuff here, right?
Yes,
you know, we have something for $24, something for $15. You paid for the little stuff, he paid for the big stuff.
Two things, Your Honor, that I would like to mention. First of all, he did not purchase $20,000 worth of assets. This is a highly inflated number. I can actually...
Not awarding him any money. Each of you will take back the things that you bought. You didn't have a formed company together. It's not a company asset. It belongs to each of you. You're not in business anymore.
Yes.
So all I have to know is what do you have at your house and what do you have at yours?
He has everything, including all the physical assets. The only thing that I have at my house, Your Honor, is, or it's actually on my computer, technically stored in a digital wallet. A digital wallet is the same thing as a regular wallet. This is just how we store cryptocurrency.
I don't want to care about that.
Sorry.
I don't care
No problem,
about that. All I'm talking about is equipment.
Oh,
so
I have no equipment at my house, Your Honor.
What equipment does he have in his house?
He has everything that's listed on that document that I gave you, and I actually do have proof that he has it because...
I'd like to see it.
So these are text messages from my roommate to his mother.
From who?
From my roommate. He was supposed to be here as a witness.
If he's not here, you can't show me texts from him.
He wasn't able to make
Well, you can't prove something to me via hearsay from a witness who's not here.
It's not hearsay. It's just text messages that he gave.
That's hearsay by a person not here. You know, I actually don't think that you're ready to have this case tried. I can't help you. You say you don't have anything in your house. If he said he doesn't have anything in his house, should I rule that he has to give it back to you? And he said, I don't have it. I can fix the dollar amount, but I can't do that unless you have what you paid for it.
I have documentation here that at the value at which I had to pay to buy it back. Because since it was through an auctioning site, I don't remember. I had several auctions I bought most of that equipment from.
You can show me a bank statement where you paid money to an auction house. I just want to see an amount that you paid to the auction house.
I don't have that on me currently.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
Your
Your
Honor,
case is dismissed without prejudice. Go back to the courts where you originally came from and see if they can help you any more than I'm willing to. Can't help you until you get your documentation together, sir. You're the plaintiff in this case. I can't award. You don't have anything if you don't have what you paid for the equipment.
But
he said he doesn't have the equipment.
And he's lying.
It may be, and the proof that you have is inadmissible here because your friend who authored those texts is not here. The case is dismissed without prejudice. Go back to the court where you started. Have a seat, please.
Case 2162, Newton versus Estrada.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Newton, you retained the services of Mr. Estrada to make you a costume.
Yes, ma'am.
And it was, according to your complaint, you make a living as an influencer?
Yes, ma'am. I produce content.
Now, Sarah has actually tried to explain that to me, what that is. And I think the kindergarten version of what she told me is you are on the internet, and your idea is to get as many people to follow the things that you do in your life as possible. And you post on the internet.
What is
your pictures doing whatever you're doing. And then when you have enough people, advertisers, people who make products, pay you to tout their products one way or another. And that's how you make a living.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
No problem. Anytime.
Okay. So you don't produce anything. You just being you.
Well, no, but I do own 3 companies, and one of them is it's important to meet and mingle with as many people as possible.
I get that, but it's all to support your primary function.
Yes, ma'am.
As we had a case years and years ago. It was one of my favorites. It was a guy who was being supported by a woman. And quite frankly, I couldn't see what this perfectly delightful, productive woman, what she saw in this guy. But I said, she gives you this, she pays you rent, she pays for your food. What does she get in return? And I'll never forget his answer. He said, she gets a me. So I don't know why that came to mind when you're talking about being an influencer. What do how does that happen? Anyway, you asked Mr. Estrada. I don't have to hear all about it. I sort of understand it a little bit now. You contracted with him to make this costume for you for $1,000. You paid him a $500 deposit. He delivered the costume, albeit he delivered it a little late, but you accepted it, and then you didn't pay him for it because you say it was not made well.
Yes.
And you have the costume now.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. In addition to the costume, you gave him another costume that you wanted him to just put another applique on of something. It was a relatively minor thing.
Glue something.
Whatever. You asked him to do something. It was work. He's not your brother, uncle, father. You're not related to him. That's his business. And when you refuse to pay him the balance of the costume that he made for you, he has the other costume, and he says, when you pay me, you can get your costume back. Am I clear?
Yes, but we have talked about creating multiple different costumes in the future, and every single time there was a dollar amount mentioned. This was never discussed. Okay. You discuss it prior, but that was never discussed.
Well, that's true. And whose fault is that?
I assume.
No, just a second. If the complaint about the costume that he was just supposed to put an applique on of some sort of a creature, a spider or something, if you gave it to him, and this is his business, then you say, how much is it? So I'm just letting you foment that in your head, sir. When did you order this costume from him for $1,000?
August 7th.
And he delivered it in October.
October 8th, I believe.
And what was wrong with it?
Many things.
Just say you have it with you.
I have every single bit of the costume with me.
I'd like to see it.
You like one piece at a time?
No, just a second. That's a boot. What else?
This glove.
Just a second, that's a glove.
Yes.
Okay.
And he actually has plenty of pictures that he sent me in the chat that he was actually making the glove himself. This comes from movie that this comes from.
Okay,
and it came out in 2005. He sold me a glove that was almost 20 years old, and he said he was making me one.
Okay, keep going.
And this belt right here, I only tried it on once to see how everything fit, and by the time I tried to take the belt off and on, it broke between 20 minutes of use in the house, just testing it out in the mirror.
I just want to see that. I see boots, I see a glove.
Right there.
Looks perfectly normal to me. And that's put on with Velcro.
Yes.
No big deal. You put on another piece of Velcro. That's a substantial belt. Put it back. What's your next complaint?
Well, number one, not only did
Just a second. I don't want to see the glove anymore. I saw the glove. I saw the boot. I saw the belt.
Well,
where's the rest of the costume?
Here's the other boot.
Just a second. Hey, where's the rest of the costume?
It's kind of heavy.
We don't have a mannequin or something we could put this on? We don't have a mannequin or something we could put this on?
We could put it on him. Put it on him. Ask. It's a costume.
Newton claims costume designer Robert Estrada sent him a poorly made superhero costume. Robert is countersuing for the balance owed on the costume.
Okay, now, would you do me a favor? Just put the belt on. I know that you can't use the Velcro because a piece of the Velcro came off. Put the belt around. I just want to see how the belt's supposed to go.
For the record, it doesn't go like
Just
this.
a second. I didn't ask you anything. I just said put it on. No, you have.
It's actually really difficult with this robe on.
Now turn around. Oh, okay. Very good. Now you can take all the show and tell away, and you can take it off.
Your Honor, if I could say something.
You don't have to say anything. I've seen the costume for which.
Still more.
Yeah, but you don't want to put that on now, because you don't have to put that on again.
You have to put on. We're looking at the showmanship. This should be one continuous piece.
Mr. Newton, get a life. Get a life. Get rid of that stuff. Put it over there on that chair. This is not a $25,000 costume. It's a $1,000 costume. If you go into a store to buy any costume, without boots, without leather glove, it's a couple of $100. Not made. And if you don't like the way it was made, don't use the services again. According to what I read, you have lots of costumes.
I have two. The one there and the one that he brought of my possession.
Oh, okay, so you just have two costumes.
Yeah.
Great, now you have two. Now you pay him $500 for the costume that he made for you. That's the balance that you owe him for the costume. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the...
I'm not accepting the costume because it's
just
not
a second.
up to my...
That's why you're in court, sir. I don't care whether you like it or not. Don't use his services again. He made it. You bought it. It may not be perfect.
I paid for it to be perfect. That's
Just a
the reason
second.
why I bought it.
Just a second. I like a lot of things perfect, sir. Life is not perfect. You're going to pay him for the costume.
I paid for perfection.
You're going to pay him for the costume. That's it. That's why you're here, for me to make a judgment. If I looked at this thing and didn't think that, for instance, when you sent him those boots, were the soles falling off the boots?
No, they were not.
I didn't think so. That's for my benefit. He's going to pay you the $500 that he owes you for the costume.
The belt wasn't.
And then he bought it.
The belt wasn't falling apart either, but one use, and within 20 minutes of trying it on, and voila.
Just a second, Mr. Newton. I'm done with that. I'm on to the next gig. I'm on to your other costume that he was supposed to put an applique on. You have that costume?
I do.
Very good. Now, I want to tell you something. He didn't send those. No, they don't fall off by themselves.
And I didn't wear it anywhere.
I don't care whether you wore it anywhere, and I know they don't fall off by themselves, and he didn't send them that way. So you figure out, let the people out here figure out what's in my head, how the soles came off both of those shoes.
You can tell me why one piece of the costume has a bigger arm than the other.
Listen to me. I'm not hearing you anymore.
I don't think you're being very fair.
Listen.
Just to be fair. I'm a big fan of you, but I don't think you're very fair right now.
It's not a popularity contest, sir. You bought something. I bought many things. This is not.
Which is why I decided to take this to court.
This is not. You're out. You're gone. Goodbye. Your case is dismissed. Do you want your costume back?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. How much was it to put the applique on it?
It was $100.
$100. Very good. Judgment on the counterclaim, $600. He gets the costume back.
Yes.
You understand? We're done.
Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
I paid a pretty penny for something that was just fabric and boots.
I tried to explain how the costume works, and unfortunately, he didn't really listen. He doesn't listen. It gave him what he wanted, but when I delivered it, he actually didn't take the time to hear me tell him how the suit goes on.
So what do you think the likelihood is that the defendant shipped those boots with the soles the way we saw them in court today?
0.
I totally agree. I think that the plaintiff thought it would help his case to have a little bit more destroyed of a costume than
drama.
Maybe it was, and doesn't look good for him.
Actually, I thought that what was sent, the boots were substantial. There's no question that he dislodged the soles from them before he came here. The belt was a really substantial belt. What he was complaining about was a piece of Velcro.
And it's a costume belt. Velcro comes off the clasp.
Yeah, and you put it back on.
You just super glue it back on.
Absolutely right. There was clearly $1,000 worth of work that went into that costume and putting it together with the boots and the belt and the glove. It was really sort of outrageous that he...
Đây là tổ chim.